Yes, boy, Kahan Tazadaq, the foul mouth, and this is the KT in the morning show, and I'm your host, the foul mouth Kahan Tazadaq. We don't deal with emotions, we don't deal with opinions, we deal with right knowledge for real. As you come into the room, give a thumbs up and drop a donation. This is that right knowledge for real, and I drop it unexpectedly like bird shit. Y'all, that's how we want it. The KT in the morning show. And be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Remix. Worldly Negroes, they of the world. When the spirit now I can.
I'm talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning for say people. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote. Talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning for say people. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote.
I'm talking to those worldly Negroes. Can't tell them nothing. Too big of an ego. Idolized rappers. Getting caught behind Rico. More to life than 10 commandments. How many you know? More to life than bust downs and dime hoes. More to life than Louis belts and Gucci clothes. Expand your thoughts. That's a 10-block city zone. Beefing over property you don't even own. Ready to shoot at ops while it's ruthless cops. Get away with murder. Eye for eye for Jake, but police brutality, you don't hear no burners. I'm my brother's keeper, speaking to another man's wife. Are you a cheater? Brother transgress against you. Speak up man to man. Man of Yahweh, that's how you stand.
I'm talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning for say people. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote. Talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning for say people. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote.
True disciples of Christ, just birth hip-hop a future. Worldly Negroes spit gibberish, dilute your mind with pollution. Should be a crime. Each time a worldly Negro rhyme in the Borea, mommies be like,
Kahan Tazadaq, he's so cute though. We love you, Poppy. Te quiero mucho.
the man's wanna shoot, so I let him know I'm not sweating your red. This is righteous rebuke, bro.
Tazadaq, what set you claiming?
T-Doc is neutral, Yahuwah's unit, and we're slinging salvation. When the spirit now, they look at us like spacemen. We speak truth to nations, haters keep on hating. Hip-hop heads are waiting for our next album to fly, like it's a second coming of Yahweh Shah. Worldly Negroes bust guns, believers look to the sky. Evil E's advertising pussy, less than in hissing. Want a high-value man, but can't get this one. Rest in peace, Kevin Samuels, for all your upliftment. Worldly Negroes got paralysis if you're not feeling this, son.
I'm talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning for say people. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote. Talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning for say people. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote.
Worldly Negroes sling them things. Bad birds fly south for the winter and get banged. Sexually exposed on social media, man. A man gets bagged. The same chick he had is getting stabbed by another wealthy deadbeat dad. Homo thugs let their pants hang below their ass in gangs. Get locked up. His BM gets knocked up. Kane, that's the game. Better accept this truth. Stop chasing worldly fame. You can sell your soul, but you can't buy your way in that heaven. Better repent before Amos 8 and 11. Forgive your brother 70 times 7. It's puzzling G how you abhorred me. talk astrology. Why can't more see? No stars astronomical as me.
I'm talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning, vos e vivo. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote. Talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning, vos e vivo. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote. I'm talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning, vos e vivo. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote. Talking to you worldly Negro. This is a warning, vos e vivo. Steady dealing poison to your people. When it comes to your brother, murder she wrote.
There you go. Yo, shout out to everybody on this rainy morning. Yo, man, I love the rain, man. The crops are growing. Get to eat the good fruits and veggies, man. Oh, praises to the Most High for the rain storm. Let it rain. Let it rain. It's raining in the air, y'all. Yeah, it's wet, just like I like it. Praise be to the Most High, man. Dirty Minds probably took that somewhere else, man. Yo, before we even started, shout out to the Beam, man. Hey, shout out to the Beam. Shout out to the Beam for donating on the Cash App before we even started. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to his wife, Jerica, for the donations also, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to the Beam and his wife for the donation, man. And of course, man, the authorized one, man. Shout out to D Authorized, man, for the donation, man, as usual, man, before we start, man. Yo, man, but D Authorized, don't lose a good thing, man. You won't get it back. I try to told you, D Authorized, don't use a good thing, baby. Yo, you better hold on to what you got, man. Don't be so harsh. Don't be so harsh, D Authorized, man. Gotta be able to see a good thing when you have it. Sometimes, man, I gotta check the authorized representative, man, because he's like the old me. You dig? Shout out to Gully the Kid, man. Gully, tell him what this is, man. Kahan Tazadaq. This is Tazadaq doctrine. That's how we on it. Yeah, that's a fact, bro. That's a fact. This is Tazadaq doctrine, man. Shout out to Tribe Ties. Peace. Peace, God. 165135 in the Supreme Mathematics, and that spells peace. Word. I sincerely love Yahuwah's mathematics, man. Will Sims is in the building, man. Whatever happened to Benaya? Come. Shout out to him anyways, man. Shout out to him, man. Where's TC at, man? Shout out to John Brown. Prez. The basketball superstar that should have went pro. From Wisconsin to Indiana. He should have been one of the 5 slammer jammers, man. Prez, point guard. Taking his team through victory, man. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Prez, man. Shout out to Alicia, man. Alicia been back on the cause now, you are. Shout out to her, man. Shout out to Alicia back on the cause, man. I didn't think she was going to show up, so I removed her from moderator, but I added her back. Yes, the Beam is in the building, man. And what y'all don't know about the Beam, man, is the Beam is highly intelligent. Shout out to Patrice, man. Patrice from the BX. Shout out to her, man. Hey, man, I take a moment of silence. Patrice, I can't hold you.
Every time I see you, it makes me think of Stefan. Every time I see you, because he's the one that introduced us to you, man. And so a moment of silence for Stefan for being a weak man. I can't hold you. That was a hoe move. I got a core weakness where I see it. And if any of you punk defy dudes, you think about doing something, call somebody, man. That's a hoe move right there. Don't go out like that, man. We building real men over here. I'm Kahan Tazadaq, your host. This is the KT Morning Show, and I'm a spokesman for men and women that love them. Don't forget that part, you all. Don't forget that part, because we're not into no sister bobs, sausage fest over here. Don't get it twisted. We love women. We're just trying to help you get your mind right. You dig? See, for every Jerica, there's always going to be a KO and a Trina. You dig what I'm saying? You dig what I'm saying? If I offended you, make no mistake about it. I meant to. When you repent, turn to the Most High and sincerely repent and stop sinning, then we'll acknowledge you as a woman of the Most High. Shout out to Eliana. Eliana's in the building, man. Had to make Eliana. She's one of the last virtuous ones left out there. Had to make her a moderator. Yeah. She could be an example of what a righteous woman should look like for many of them. Come on. So let me talk. Today we talking about man was created to rule. Man was created to rule. Now, this is a fact, right? It's indisputable and unrefutable. Now, I want women that claim to be believers in the Most High to really listen to me today, right? This KT Morning Show is about men was created to rule. See, a woman of the Most High is going to say, yeah, well, I love that. I love that male strength, that male power. You think what I'm saying? But a feminist, and you got to understand that a wicked patriarchal system set up feminism. Men like Erich Fromm, Karl Marx, destruction of family, all of that is feminism. Well, so men are going to always rule. I want women to get this. I mean, this is not designed to offend anyone, because a man doesn't have a voice. That's what the Most High sent me, a spokesman for men, right? And I'm not really that sharp and intelligent of a guy. You see what I'm saying? I just do things in repetition until I get it. I'm not a smart dude like the Beam. I think the Beam skipped through school and all of that. He was so smart. I mean, what y'all don't know is the Beam is a really intelligent dude, man. He picks up on things real quick. Me, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I gotta do it again and again and again to get it. That's just the way I'm designed, man. It takes me a while to figure things out. But it's my consistency. It's my indomitable spirit that pulls me through and makes me dissident. You understand what I'm saying? Because, listen, man, I'll bleed for this and I'll perish for this. That's what makes me dissident. And everything that I bring forth is didactic. Whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not, if you receive it, it's going to change your life. Yeah, I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. But yo, man, you don't have to be the sharpest tool in the shed when you got a stone that you could sharpen it with. You dig what I'm saying? Most wealthy people got around people that was smarter than them. You dig what I'm saying? Did Steve Jobs finish college? Nah. College, those that go to college and finish is for bozos. Because most of y'all are working for someone else. People around me with the degrees I do way better than them. Much more successful than them. But I'm still building, man. I'm still that lion going up with an insatiable desire to be the best that I can be. Why? Because the Most High made me as a ruler. I man. I want to clear something up. Because some of you, when you read these new international versions of the Bible and so on and so forth, it's trying to make you believe, for example, the new international version of the Bible, it says to the woman, he said, I will make you, so on and so forth. Right? But when you go back and read Genesis 1 and 26, see, that's what I want to deal with. Bereshit 1 and 26 real quick. Because these new international versions of the Bible and so on and so forth, they were trying to make you to believe that is talking about mankind. They put the word mankind there. But if you read, see, it says in the New International Version that then Yahuwah said, let us make mankind in our image. That's a damn lie. See, this is why you got to understand the Hebrew, right? And the New Living Translation, it says, Yahuwah, they put the word God there, right? Let us make man, let us make human beings. That's a lie too. The word doesn't translate to that. You can't put what you want to put there. The word there in the Hebrew, when you look at that in the Hebrew, the word is Adam. Adam. It's not no mankind. It's not no humans. Well, they trying to put that there to throw you off. They're trying to take away the gender. See, the Hebrew is gender specific. Understand that. Understand that. So it's gender specific. It says, let us make man. Adam. When you go and look it up in the word, you can go and look up in Strong's. Adam is masculine singular. It has nothing to do with femininity. Don't try to put all humans in there. The Most High deals with specifics. It's showing you that man was created to have dominion over everything. And how was man created? In our image, after our likeness. Understand that. So I want to make that abundantly clear that the Most High designed man and gave him dominion to rule over his family. You understand that? To rule over his family. That's the first unit. Family is the first organizational unit in the world. So this is where Paul came and said, how can a man rule the church if he can't rule his own family, right? Because all rulership starts with the family. There's no equality, man. Well, see, when you deal with worldly Negroes, when you deal with wicked patriarchy, a wicked patriarchal system, they trying to make you think things are supposed to be equal. That's not what the Most High says. That is ungodly. That is antichrist. That is against the words of the Most High. Understand that. Understand that. Now, you can like and understand it, believe it or not, but you bucking up against the truth is not going to change the truth. The truth is going to always be the truth and doesn't owe anyone an apology. Just because we have wicked patriarchal men ruling today and pushing feminism doesn't mean it's supposed to be that way. You cannot change the natural order of things the way that the Most High designed it. He makes that very clear. Again, in Bereshit, Genesis 3 and 16, he says, your desire shall be unto your husband, and he shall rule over you. Everybody understand that? So that means any woman that's in the spirit, in the true spirit of the Most High, is going to want her man rule over her. Otherwise, you're not a woman of the Most High. So you start to create excuses, but none of that could be read anywhere in the Bible. Your excuses. Well, he's this. It doesn't say if he's this, he's that. It says he's supposed to rule over you. He's like God unto you. You understand that? When you read the book of Ephesians 5 and 22, it says, wives, obey your husbands like Adonai. You use the word Lord there. Say your husband's like God unto you. He was created to rule. And men need to get back under that paradigm. And I'm a spokesman for men. I'm going to teach hard. They don't want platforms where men could speak freely. They don't want platforms where men are encouraging other men. But I'm going to do it. You can't stop this truth. It's the truth. I shouldn't have to apologize for the truth. And I won't. And I don't. Understand that. Understand that. Genesis 3 and 16. He's unto the Ish. unto high-ish, high-isha, high-isha, well, unto high-isha. The word high is like the. In the Ibrit, the transliteration in English would be the word the of the. Unto high-isha. Isha is the woman. The ish is the man. So it's gender specific. So we can see that the Ibrit deals with gender specific. This is making a distinction between male and female. Well, high-isha. It's a noun. It's a feminine singular. You can look it up in Strong's 802 yourself. That's talking about a woman. It could mean a woman, a wife, or a female. So he's dealing with specifics. He said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrows and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thou desire shall be unto your husband. Huh? Thy husband. The last part is, and he shall rule over thee. He shall rule over thee. See, the Most High created man to rule. Society's trying to change that. We can't let them change that as men. You got to stand up and be men. Shout out to Daenerys, man. Shout out to Daenerys, man. Yahuwah created men to rule their homes, to rule the church, and to rule the world. Men will always rule. Yeah, women talk about we coming up. Listen, man, the real truth is because a man allowed that. You understand that? I know I seem a little harsh right now, but I need to be frank with some women. Is it suffice to say that allowing women to raise children has destroyed the unit of family? You don't have to believe me. Look at the condition of the children today. Look at the tradition of the children since the 40s. Look at the condition of the children since wicked patriarchal men have allowed women to take the children with them. The conditions wasn't like that. Crimes going up, prison times going up, teenage pregnancies going up, high schools dropouts going up, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, rapes. It's all going up. Why? Because you went against the rules and laws of the Most High Adonai. And this is what you get. He told you what you had to do to fix the world. In the book of Malachi 4, verse 6, I will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers, not to the mothers. I'm not a misogynist. I'm a realist. This is Yahuwah's work. You can't stop this. You understand that? And you can like it, understand it, believe it or not. And any woman, I'm going to tell you something. The only kind of woman that goes against this kind of teaching in my head is a woman that's anti-Christ. You understand? According to the Bible, you're anti-Yahusha. You understand? This is why you can't, oh, I know I got a problem talking. You damn right you do. You have diarrhea of the mouth. Why? Because you got the spirit of Nakash on you. That's the snake that was projected in the Garden of Eden. You should have learned from your foremother Eve, but you didn't. Because you're trying to control the man. You want to rule the man. You have an insatiable, unclean, unnatural desire to try and rule him and not realizing that's part of a curse. You're warring against your own nature that you was created in. You was created to be a helpmeet, to help your man accomplish what he wants, according to the Bible. Now, all you Christian women, you Jewish women, and you Israelite women say, Amen, because it's true. And if that makes you feel uneasy, it's because you're not of the Most High. You're not of this fold. You're pretending. Someone has to say it. So I have to be the one to say it. So you got women that try and trap men like this.
Nigga, you my baby dad. I want all your money. I want child support. Nigga, you bought dog.
They think that's cute. But that's the paradigm. See, it sounds trivial, right? But that's what's going on today, man. So Yahuwah created men to rule their homes, to rule the church, and to rule the world. Men will always rule. Make no mistake about that. Men will always rule. See, the reason that Eve had to protest is because the men are in power. And so you got to protest because you're trying to get male attention and say, listen, give us some privileges. I know this sounds harsh. No man has the capacity to speak like this, but you need to hear it. And it's supposed to be that way. It's the natural order of things. The system needs to be changed back to how they were. If Eve wants to leave, let her leave. The children stay with the father because they're better off with the father in most cases. That's a fact, bro. You can't argue that. The court system can't argue that. So why then are these women that's leaving? Check this out. 80% of divorces are executed by women. 80% of the so-called black families are headed by a woman, a single parent that's a woman. Now, so if the children are functional or illiterate, and particularly the male children, the average male child, all the way up to 12th grade, 90% of them is not proficient in reading. They aren't proficient in reading. You count off 100 men, 90 of them can't read. I'm talking about so-called black men right there. So would you say that these women is bragging about, I don't need a man, has accomplished great? No, she selfishly has focused upon herself, and someone needs to tell her that, because that's the only way to fix it, is to address the matter that's at hand. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm telling you how to fix your situation. And if you're a woman that want to be happy, you need to get online and submit to your man, because that's the natural order of things. What you got now is a culture, a rape culture, a feminist culture, just trying to go against what's natural. See, what's natural is for man to rule his home, to rule the church, and to rule the world. You understand that, Moshe? Helen? You're not supposed to be ruling over no man. Your spirit is off. That's not the spirit of righteousness. It's the spirit of High Shaitan, the devil. Because you got demons on you. You understand that? And some men are just not designed to say this kind of stuff, because you're not men anymore. Guess why? Because I know when I talk to most people, when I talk to most of you, I'm talking to 80% of people that's been reared by one parent, primarily a single woman, right? And so to you, I'm a misogynist, I'm harsh, because you don't know how to measure masculinity. I get men that trying to argue with, oh man, you're too aggressive. No, I'm not too aggressive, I'm masculine. That's how the Most High in Isaiah 58 and 1 say, cry aloud, lift up thy voice like a trumpet. You understand that? So I'm not here to cater to what you want. I'm here to, he said, what the Most High orders me to do. So men will always rule. It's just, will it be a wicked patriarchal rule or a godly patriarchal rule? See, I refuse to be emasculated or cater to wicked men in society that's pushing feminism. I would never apologize for my masculinity. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't either. See, we have wicked patriots and not godly ones that's trying to manipulate the world today, and they're doing a pretty good job. I've been sent to turn men back to Yahuwah. I'm a spokesman for men and women that love them. Using a strong masculine father and the encouragement of other male peers in times past was done to create and build confidence and mastery of manhood in young boys. But that's been set aflame. It's been set ablaze by wicked patriarchal men and feminists. See, in society, right? Think about what I'm saying. Go back and play this 10 times, right? When you look at societies, right? There's always been, men are competitive. Men are made to be rulers, right? So in society, it's always been the wicked patriarchal men against the righteous ones. And that will always be. So men will always rule. It's just a matter of who's going to rule. the wicked patriarchal men that we see running society now, because the earth is under Satan's authority and the prince of this world. The prince of this world cometh and have nothing in me. Yahushua said it. So which are going to rule? %80 of fathers are absent. And this is often not by their choice. Male platforms such as this and venues for mutual encouragement are denounced. It's censored, even disallowed. So you tell me right now, I got 96,000 followers. How you only got 30 on? Now stop me where I'm lying at. Male platforms and venues for mutual encouragement of men to teach men to be masculine, godly men are denounced. They're censored and they're even disallowed, or they're infiltrated by women and girls. Masculine men, manly desires are subdued, or they're redirected by Marxist views. Video games got you addicted to pornography. Pornography is suicide of your soul, man. You know what I told you? Pornography is suicide of your soul. Feminism is ranging on social media. It's ranging in the church. You don't see a lot of men in church anymore. They already peak game. It reigns in the family court system. They know what I'm saying is true. It reigns in the media. It ranges in modern culture. So as a result of this, someone left a remark under my video, which is why I started this like I did. Because he was trying to say, when the Most High say man, he meant mankind. That's a damn lie. The word Adam is not talking about, it's gender specific. The word Adam is masculine singular. I'm not going to let you pull that garbage and teach it to people forcefully. That's what wicked, patriarchal men are doing. And the reason they're doing that is because, listen, man, once you control the godly, masculine men, it's easy for them to overthrow women and control society. That's why men like Kahan Tazadaq is essential and necessary. You dig what I'm saying? Understand that, man. That's why deauthorized representatives are necessary. So as a result of all of this, young boys grow up thinking something is wrong with them being masculine. They refer to it as toxic masculinity. You know, some lady left under the video, stop pretending you're hard. They think it's an act. It's nothing about me made up. You dig?
Oh, thank y'all.
There's nothing about me made up. But I'll show you emotions unchecked. This is emotions unchecked right here.
So, ladies, I just want to say that, forgive me, I was having Wi-Fi issues. I'm here in my mom's house. So, but it was a pleasure to be with the ladies there in the group chat. I learned a lot. I'm ready to come back. I needed to fast and pray at that time. I feel like there was a lot going on.
Check the emotions. Check how quick she changes up.
I just got off the phone with the teen ministry, and you ladies know that. And so I was.
This is what I meant. The Most High made men to rule.
There was a lot going on, and I felt like I needed to remove myself in that moment, as there was just too much going on within. Even with like Tazadaq and your pa, I felt like I just needed to remove myself because I didn't want to be involved at that moment.
Who put you there?
I was like, let me leave and let the Father handle it.
Another Eve that's
I'm back,
unchecked.
and we're all raised up in Him. I appreciate you, ladies, and I learned a lot from you.
Watch this.
I will love to accept that position of being your leader and
leader.
to lead you all to
See that?
Him. But I also want you all to know that I do learn from you all too, as we're all waters, and iron sharpens iron. So
check the mindset. Watch this.
So I think Moshe is definitely well studied. and
can accept
has
corrected
the zeal
criticism.
that
Watch
Lena
this.
mentioned. This is going to be an honest place, and like she said, I'm not. I'm gonna call it out. I will never join somebody else's Bible study, sister. Or this is T-Doc, and I'm true to this, and whoever's not, and that's not what this is about.
That's why she's alone.
We're not going to anybody else's.
That's why she's alone.
Here.
See,
That's why she's childless. That's a curse of the Most High.
Because she's strictly T-Dot in the teachings, and like Moshe is still, you know, for lack of better words, eating off other tables. She's being taught and learning from a lot of
do that.
places, and all of us.
She didn't want to get
T-Dot
checked.
are only
That's why the
being
Most High
taught
say
T-Dot.
men should rule. Prime
And
example.
so that's why I said
Watch
she
the
just
switch.
need more
Watch the
time
switch.
to kind of understand the
Watch the double-mindedness. Now
the
she just gave
standards
the
set
women
for the
big
women
praise
of
and up
T-Dot.
when she thought they
Listen,
wanted her to be that
it's
leader.
very rare verse
Check this. Check this.
and I admire that, and it's so much that I have also learned from Moshe as well.
I have to. Yes.
Thank you,
I'm
sisters. But
your
Alicia,
presence.
you and
I'm
I,
grateful for you being a.
thank you. You and I speak alone. I think that the scriptures is clear that if you have something, I think you could have said that and voiced your opinion. I feel like when women get around men, it gets a little different. Number one, I work for Yahuwah. I'm under the Holy Ruach. And this is no disrespect
Look at the
to anybody,
switch.
but
This
I'm
is not
gonna-
the spirit
Isaiah,
of righteousness.
Yeshayahu 32:20. Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the ass. So my thing is, I don't take direction from people, no disrespect, ladies, who don't know the scriptures themselves, and are under man authority. I'm under Yahuwah's authority. And so my thing
If
is,
she was
until I'm
under
married.
Yahuwah's
And so,
authority,
my thing is,
she would be under a man.
yeah. So
as
I
order.
appreciate that, Alicia. But
So Moshe,
See the switch up? That's why the Most High made men rulers. See what I'm saying? That's emotional. Well, she gave the sisters a big up, and then she come back and attacked them. I didn't let it all play out. She threw them under the bus. She insulted them. That's why the Most High made man a ruler. You understand that? Feminism reigns in the church system like that. That's a prime example of feminism. So young boys grow up thinking something is wrong with being masculine. I'm here to make a difference. Why are you here? See, getting women, being a good father, being a good husband, all of that is impossible without knowing how to be a man first. All of those things are important to manhood, but if you don't understand what men are made for and how Yahuwah intends you to become great at being a man, none of the other things will matter. Being a good father won't matter. Being a good husband won't matter. You understand that? Knowing how to pick up women won't matter if you don't know how to be a righteous man of the Most High. See, the Most High made men and he gave man dominion. Customs will never conquer nature. What we have now is we have customs. Well, we have customs where they're trying to make things equal. Customs will never conquer nature. Nature is always invincible. It's in a man's nature to rule. They always have and they always will. Nothing will change that. Nothing can. See, this is what patriarchal is. This is what patriarch is. It's the natural rulership of man. That's a natural thing. If you want to get technical, the term patriarchal comes from Greek. It simply means father rule. Go and look it up for yourself. It means father rule. This is why the father is the head of the home, the head of the family. Yahuwah made it that way. And it's not for your system to try and change it. See, before there was nations, watch this, right? Before there was nations, there was the original family, Adam. The original family was headed by Adam, man. That's gender specific. It's masculine. Nations are headed by what? By men Because men was made up of households that are headed by men. In the same way, before there was churches, there was the original worshiping family headed by Adam, man. Churches are headed by men. What did Paul say? I suffer not a woman to teach in the church. Why? Because Paul understood the structure that the Most High created. Churches are headed by men because they're made up of households that are headed by men. You understand that? That's why the scriptures say, how can a man in 1 Timothy 3 and 4 rule the church if he can't control his own household? Hallelujah. Praise be the Most High. Come. For how else can he be competent for the greater task of managing the household of faith, which is a church? You understand? Old leadership, whether the Old or New Testament, whether civil or domestic, ecclesiastical, is exclusively male, according to the Most High. Understand that. In every society that has ever existed, I'm talking to somebody right now and trampling on your feelings, your emotions. But set your emotions aside for a second. Every society that has ever existed, you're going to find patriarchs. You're going to find patriarchal men. Males fill the overwhelming percentage of the upper hierarchy positions and all other hierarchical positions. It's male attainment. Stop me where I'm lying at. So patriarchy is the natural and inevitable state of the world. Understand that. So what's going on in the world today? Now, I'm going to hit you with something. Just because something's natural doesn't mean it will always be virtuous, right? See, a good thing could actually be perverted by sin. By sin, right? But unnatural things are always evil. Everybody understand what I'm saying, man? Unnatural things are always evil because they're contrary to the Most High. Eve ruling over Adam is unnatural because it's contrary to the nature and what the Most High created both of them. It's unnatural. That's what man try to do. That's what you worldly Negroes do. You understand that? It's a fact, bro. It's unnatural because it's contrary to Yahuwah's design of natural things. So it could be created to be good. It can nonetheless be turned to unnatural ends, like a woman saying, I'm equal, or I can rule over my man. That's a reviling woman right there, a reviling wife. See, the natural things is what the Most High ordered. The natural things has to be done how the Most High intended them to be. And the Most High gave you instructions in the Bible of how he wanted things. And that's for the man to rule over you, Eve. You understand that? We're not going, but we don't care about what the world say. Real men don't care about what this world say. Real men don't care about what they got in their damn court systems, man. The family court system, because that's of Satan if it's anti-Christ. Understand that. And we're about to change all of that. Natural things must be conformed to the laws of the Most High. Male rule is natural. I'm going to say it again. Male rule is natural. The only kind of woman that's going to have problem with that is a feminist or a woman that was more than likely raised by a single mother, or the father was there, but he was a Homer Simpson type of father. being ruled by March, it's inevitable that a male will rule. But when it's not governed, see, here's the thing, right? Men are ruling today, right? But this rulership is not governed by the Most High. Shalom, Jeffrey Rhodes. It's not governed by the Most High's law. And so we have a wicked patriarchal system that people hate. Why? Because you're going to listen to people like Joe Rogan and what's this guy, Pierce, Jordison, Peterson, and these people. These people are not of the Most High, man. You're supposed to be tuned into shows like this that's going to teach you the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High and live in accordance with that. Not off a secular society. You listen to these people in secular society that's trying to teach you how to be men. You got to go to YouTube to learn how to pick up a woman because you didn't have a real father figure. Where's he? He's gone. Why is he gone? A masculine woman chased him out of the home. A woman that didn't want to play the position that the Most High gave her chased him out of the home and then blame him. So 80% of y'all don't know how to pick up women. You go to YouTube to learn that. You go to YouTube to try and learn everything. Why? Because they're trying to use technology to replace a real father figure. That father's supposed to be there. And so, Eve, you fell. You look at the world. You fell. Look at the men. Look at the women. Everybody's discombobulated. And if you're raising 80% of them, it suffices to say that you fell. That's not politically correct, but it's the truth. So the hell with what's politically correct. Let's speak the damn truth. How about that? You fell. And you don't want to assume any accountability for it. Male rule is natural. And that's inevitable. But when it's not governed by the Most High's laws, it would be wicked. And that's what we have today. Because it is natural, male rulership will never be destroyed. You don't have to wonder, will men be ruling in 50 years? You damn right they will. But it can be twisted. So now, peace, shalom, Queen Nazora. That's why I rock with Robin, man. Robin's head's in the right place, man. Shout out to Robin, man. Shout out to Robin when she watched this video. She be trying to teach you women. You women can learn something from Robin, man. So when what's natural is twisted, it gives birth to the evil patriarchal system that we see in place today. The rulership of wicked fathers who don't represent the fatherhood of Yahuwah Adonai. See, although our culture treats all patriarchal systems as evil, they say, oh, you too masculine. Then shut up, you're ungodly. Yahuwah's father rule is good. Evil patriarchal is that which does not reflect Yahuwah Adonai. They don't respect his authority. Evil patriarchals, they hate those that's under it. They hate you that's under this current system. They don't give a damn about you. That's what a family court system is like it is. See, it's not so much that it's anti-woman, it's anti-anything, especially any anti-threat to its own power. That's why I'm not favored. I'm not favored on social media. I represent strong masculinity, and I go against an evil patriarchal system. And so the Eve's been so dumbed down, they try and buck up against me because they think I'm their enemy. But I'm really attempting to liberate your thinking. You're warring against your own liberator because you've been dumbed down. These evil patriarchals They hate the power of the good patriots. Why? Because it's conflicting with powers of the evil ones. You're being dealt with just like in the days of Moses, right? There was an evil king, right? During the time of Joseph, the kings was okay with the Israelites. But when we go into the book of Shemot, Exodus, right? It says, now there arose a new king that knew not Joseph. Right? He saw the children of Israel as a threat. And he was determined to do something about it. At first, they tried vigorous labor. They told him to make bricks out of straw. Couldn't crush the spirit of the Israelites. Praise be Yahuwah. And to prevent them from being fruitful and multiplying, he commanded the Hebrew midwives. In the book of Shemot, Exodus 1 and 6, he said, when you're helping the Hebrew women to give birth and seat them upon their birth stools, if it's a son, you should have him put to death. But if it's a daughter, you should let him live, let her live. See, there's wisdom in that to those that could think. But you don't know how to think because they teach you what to think. I don't teach you what to think. I teach you how to think. Praise be Yahuwah. What? Pharaoh knew why he ordered to kill the young boys but not the young girls. Because Pharaoh knew that the young men of Israel, unlike the women, were a threat to his reign. You understand? Everybody hear what I'm saying? It's the same thing in society today. He got women going against men and the men against women. Why? Because the evil patriarchal system has control over the women and most of you men. 80% of you men, because you was raised by the women, right? So if he overthrow the small faction of men like Kahan Tazadaq that's standing up for Yahuwah's righteousness and righteous patriarchal and the rule of the Most High, the divine order given in the book 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. God the Father, God the Son, man, woman, then children. That's a divine order right there. This is the same order that was given in the book of Genesis, man. 1 and 26, 3 and 16. Ephesians 5 and 22. You understand? Go and read those. Yeah, go and read those. So Pharaoh knew that the young men of Israel, unlike the women, were a threat to his range. Why? Because all men are potentially patriarchs. All men. See, when boys grow up together, we bond based on who's the strongest, who's the toughest, and who could beat who up, and that's going to be the leader. You see what I'm saying? That's patriarch. Men are designed for conquest and rule. It's not normal for a woman to rule over a man. It's unnatural. In this world of the devil, this is why this world's trying to push that kind of paradigm. And so the combined strength of these men could be sufficient to break the chain of even a mighty dynasty like Egypt. So Pharaoh say, oh, we got to kill these male children. What? So Pharaoh tried to use the Hebrew women. Same thing that they're doing today. I need you to hear me. Pharaoh tried to use the Hebrew women, the Israelite women, against the Hebrew men, the Israelite men, the same thing that's occurring today. But you falling for it. Our righteous sisters didn't fall for it. But you're of this world. You're them worldly Negroes that we was talking about in the song. I'm talking to you worldly Negroes. You understand what I'm talking about? That's the modern Eve, man. You're not like the Hebrew midwives. You made a covenant with High Shaitan. You're like Eve. You're not like the Hebrew midwives. Huh? The Hebrew midwives they unwittingly abetting him, they resisted Pharaoh by deceiving him. The midwives feared Yahuwah. You know what I told you? The Hebrew midwives feared Yahuwah, and they did not order what the king, they did not do what the king of Egypt had ordered them. They didn't do what he commanded them to do. So they let the boys live. Rather than killing off the boys, they let the boys live. So the king of Egypt, he called the midwives and said to them, why have you done this thing? And let these boys live. These are righteous women, right? They're not built like this anymore. We got to create them. We got to create them where male rulership and men taking control of these families again. That's why the Most High sent Kahan Tazadaq, his spokesman for men and women that love him, because we're going to fix all of this. That's why I'm here. You think? So the king called for the midwives and said, why have you done this thing and let these boys live? You know what the midwives said to Pharaoh? They said, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women. You women today are like the Egyptian women. You killing off your own sons. You're following Margaret Sanger. The abortion clinics. You're out with your picket signs. You're like the women of Egypt. You're not representing the righteous women of Yahuwah. Bahashem. HaMashiach, Yahusha. So the Hebrew women say the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and gave birth before the midwives can get them. So Yahuwah was good to the midwives because of this. And the people multiplied and became very mightily because the midwife feared Yahuwah. You women don't fear the Most High today, man. That's why you talk back to your husband. That's why you take the children. See, all of that is anti-Christ, anti-Yahuwah. Huh? That's why you run to the court system. What did Paul tell you? 1 Corinthians 6, verse 1 through 5. How dare you to take your cases to the enemy before you come to the priesthood? These women today violate the scriptures again and again, yet claim to be of the Most High. It's not of the Most High, man. The more that they try to kill them, the more that they multiply. So the Most High, he established household for these righteous women. When we read the book of Shemot 1 and 17, Exodus 1 and 17 through 21. And so what did this do? The Pharaoh was forced to find another way to murder the future patriarchs of Israel. And so he commanded the people, he commanded all the people, saying, every son that is born, you cast into the Nile, and every daughter you keep alive. That's verse 22. Exodus 1 and 22. See, to destroy masculine men in society, evil men today, they're using things like sex. They did it in the Bible. The Philistines did it. They try to pacify. See, this is how they destroy patriarchal men. They pacify them. They manipulate them or some other form of controlling them. They pacified Samson. Well, they use sex. They get a lot of you men like that. Social media. Why you think the women are allowed to go on social media damn near naked and get no strikes? And videos like this, they don't want to monetize. Why? Because I'm telling the truth. I'm waking up. I'm liberating your thinking. But the woman could be out there nude. Because they're using sex to destroy you, just like they did Samson in the scriptures. Sex is the obvious choice In the case of the Philistines, they pacified Samson through Delilah. When we read Judges 16, verse 5. See, in our day and time right now, modern day, JB. Shout out to JB. The technique has actually been perfected with porn. Video games. You're being pacified. You got men hooked on porn like junkies. You got grown men hooked on video games like junkies. They're pacifying you. You get a dopamine drip from it. You're participating in virtual fornication, watching porn. Some of you masturbate so much. Now, in society, you're impotent in your 20s. You have erectile dysfunctions in your 20s. Know what I told you? I'm not making this up. You got dudes in their 20s that's limp because they masturbate so much. The dopamine, the pornography got them addicted. They pushing sites like OnlyFans to destroy godly, patriarchal men. But see, the wicked, patriarchal men, they scheme like Absalom. Absalom was stealing people away from his father, trying to steal the kingdom away. He got a lot of followers. He was able to steal David's kingdom by stealing the hearts of the men. Why? Because he invested time into it. He took interest in them. And he sided with them. It's the same thing society is doing you. That's why some of you weak, feeble-minded men go against Kahan Tazadaq. He defends them. See, every age has its pharaohs and its Absaloms. But Absalom, they are in particularly prevalent in times of disorder and disruption. They get you to participate in worthless fighting. They wait for a power vacuum that's created by weak and ineffective patriarchs. Like in our time, the men are weak. 80% of you are raised by Eve. The Absaloms in today's societies are many. They war against Tazadaq all the time. That's a cause for concern, y'all. But the Most High will raise up bold and godly patriots. Here's a patriot I want you guys to keep in mind before I open this up. Nehemiah. See, centuries after Absalom, that great city where he set in the gates was reduced to a smothering rubble. Its walls was broken down by Nebuchadnezzar, and its gates was burned. And when Nehemiah saw it, he wept. He wept because he knew a city was protected by its walls and guarded by the men who sit in its gates. That's something you men need to consider. Are you guarding the city of the Most High? Are you guarding the wall? A city is supposed to be protected by men within its gates, not the women. And so just like Jerusalem in the days of Nehemiah, today we have no strong men that's guarding the gates. It's been reduced to a chaotic heap. Book of Nehemiah 2:17 says Then I said to them, protected by its walls. Then I said to them, well, you see the bad situation we are in, and that Jerusalem is desolate, and the gates burned by fire. Come, let us rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, so we will no longer be a reproach. It's Nehemiah 2:17. So I'm saying to any man under the sounds of my voice that want to be a real man, come, let us build the walls of Jerusalem so it'll no longer be a reproach. Stop being a pussy. Stop being a simp. Stop being a mangina. Stop being a cornball and stand up like men. Gird up your loins like a man, Job 38:3. Job 40. Western society and the world is burning. The structure that led to prosperity have been broken down. We see this in so many realms, but none as clearly as the state that men are in today. The state that men are in is great distress and reproach. It is atrocious. See, we're living in a world of fatherless males who don't know how to rebuild the walls of society. 80% of you raised by a woman. You become clueless bastards. I didn't curse. You don't have a father, so you're a bastard. You're clueless bastards. You don't know how to build. You don't know how to build like the beam. You don't know how to explore and conquer. You build and you explore and conquer video games. You got to turn to YouTube to learn how to jumpstart a damn car. You don't know how to tie a square knot. You don't know rigging like Kahan Tazadaq. You don't know how to tie a Windsor knot. You got to go to YouTube to learn how to do a damn push-up and a side straddle hop. Huh? Get your thumbs up and put some donations in the room. Support the truth. You don't know how to do none of this, man. Social skills are even harder for you guys. I talk to you like a man, you break down and cry and go and tell your mom. See, the knowledge that was once formerly transmitted from the fathers to the son has been lost. Why? Because Eve is in the way. You know what I told you? Get out of the way, woman. You don't realize you're being controlled by wicked, patriarchal men that don't want righteous men like Tazadaq, General Yashabin, Kadar, Benaiah. You understand? They make you think we're the enemy because we represent real strength and real men. You don't have anything to measure real men by because you're a hypocrite and you don't believe in the Bible. You pick and choose what you want to follow in that book. So the knowledge that is normally transmitted from father to son has been lost. You got to rediscover it for yourself. And so the Most High sent Kahan Tazadaq with a foul mouth to help you rediscover what real manhood is. I'm going to hit you with something. Anyone esteeming motherhood as the foundation of femininity, you're canceled. The scriptures say your first place, man. It's that home, mom. You look at domestic violence as a male sin, exclusively for males. You got no fault divorces. got EBT cards. For who? These bastard children and these single Eves. You got a wicked prejudice custody laws on the books. Look at the laws in Georgia, man. A father is considered to be an illegitimate father, even if he's on the birth certificate. That's wicked as hell, man.
With divorce and all that, my other.
You understand that? That's wicked. And you got to be wicked to go along with something like that, Eve. You failed. You got these wicked custody laws. Women leave their husbands and they take everything he has. You got women initiating 80% of all divorces. Male suicide rates are headed for the skies at an all-time high. Stefan, a prime example. No one cares. But Yahuwah cares. And Kahan Tazadaq cares. Just 60 years ago, all of this would have been absurd. Yeah, here we are. And Eve thinks it's natural. This culture that we're living in right now had became just like Jerusalem before the Most High used Nebuchadnezzar to destroy it because it was wicked, burning. And so have our men. You become weak and feeble. You see men like me as a threat because I represent a righteous, godly, patriarchal male. And you represent the wicked. So the culture has become like Jerusalem burning. The men, you're like cities that's been ruined. Book of Proverbs 25 and 28 says, like a city that is broken into and without walls is a man who has no control over his spirit. You don't control yourself. Social media controls you. Evil, wicked, patriarchal men control you, and your woman control your home. Porn has led you to erectile dysfunction. They got ED in their 20s now. Young boys got a gut all the way out their head, playing video games, being raised by a single mother. Turns out to be homicide. Not to be mistaken with homicide. You dig? In their 20s, they have erectile dysfunctions for masturbating so much. Social media and these dating apps have made the rational marketplace so extraordinarily competitive that some men just give up. They go and have sex with duos, y'all. It's too competitive. They're giving Eve too many choices on social media. So a lot of these men has abandoned their sexual ideas and they turn to virtual reality. Some of them even use robots. And just go and masturbate. So they got erectile dysfunction. Masculinity is shame. Tells a doc you shouldn't speak like that. You're toxic. It's toxic masculinity. Oh, well then. I call it being a man of the Most High. Strong men like Tazadaq is vilified as toxic. And those who speak out have their houses and homes destroyed. Huh? Well, who's this? Where to W get if single men rules? What? I don't even understand. Where to W get if every single man rule? I don't understand your question, but I'm going to open this up. You got questions? Click the link, come on the call. Let's do it. Let's get it. Talk to me like a man. Click the link and come on the call. You got a question? I got an answer for you, according to the Most High. The link's in the room. Click the link, come on the call. You got a question? This is the KT Morning Show. I'm Kahan Tazadaq, a spokesman for men and women that love them. Make no mistake about it. Kahan Tazadaq. This is doctrine. That's how we on it. That's how we on it, baby. Universal Sovereign Soul. What's going on with you, King?
Peace, King. Peace.
Peace, peace, peace.
Sitting back, catching a portion of this particular broadcast this morning. First of all, I would like to extend the fact that I'm not able to capture all of your broadcasts as I used to be able to back in the day.
Cool.
Only because, thanks to the Most High, I am in my life making creditor moves. So I just want to say thank you very much for that opportunity in life at this point. And today's commentary based on the situation between a man and a woman in a home, it made me reflect on a lion. Someone can get a cub, and let's say a woman in terms, and she'll get that cub and she'll raise that cub in her home, and she'll feed it and she'll train it to act a certain way. Although its nature is to be one way, it'll accept the fact that the person that's feeding it and giving it, its daily survival amenities, it loses this connection with nature, as you were saying not too long ago about the unnatural side and the natural side. So, once it goes unnatural, it's dealing with it's really going against the Most High. It's going against their nature. So when that cub is raised by that woman, and once that woman allows that cub to go out into the wild, it does not know how to survive. And so it is doing things that's adverse to its actual nature. So when it goes in and it meets, maybe, let's say, because when cubs are shunned or as they get a certain age, they're pushed out of their pride, they start running in packs. And so if it doesn't know how to hunt, it doesn't know how to take care of itself in certain aspects, and so it's at a disadvantage. And so that's similar to where these Eves are raising these young, be they whatever nationality or ethnicity you want to call themselves, be they melanated, be they non-melanated, or lack of melanin, whatever you want to call it. Then they're raising them so that they're effeminized, of course. Yet what it really is, it's as they say, ungodly. So it's like seeing it's really sad. Really, it's really sad. It's seeing a lion walking around a house waiting for a person to feed it, when that lion is equipped with all the tools by nature, by the Most High, to actually go out and set out on his own to get what it's supposed to have, as well as having his own family. So, just looking at that and its trueness, this is what we're really looking at. If I look at a young male, and that's one of the most I would say appreciative things that I have that I've been given by the Most High, is to be able to mentor youth. And so when I come across a youth who's maybe 12, 16, whatever the age may be, I always try to instill in them a little bit of, well, as much as I can, the importance of being able to stand as a man, not being subject to a woman's nature. So when they go out and they're trying to find another woman, with them more than 100% of the time, they're trying to find someone who raised them. They're trying to find that motherly, that we call it teat, that they subsist off of for their entire life. So they're trying to find a replacement for that that's going to take them to the next part of their life, and it's not really conducive to their real purpose, and that's one of the most important parts is their purpose. A lion's it serves a purpose in nature, and not serving that purpose is wasted talent or wasted purpose. So you're supposed to do a certain thing. So if I'm supposed to be leading my family, or I'm supposed to at least lead myself to through right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding to a particular path that's going to benefit my purpose, and my purpose is going to be in line with the Most High if I am living my natural purpose, and going further on to incorporate what society has been rightly led by a woman in any historical books. I'm not talking about mythological where they're going to say, well, Amazonian type society.
Right.
And even in that Amazonian type society, they attribute masculinity, which is a male characteristic, onto the female by making them at a certain stature, a certain aggressiveness. So they're still incorporating what's in nature that's divinely given to a man to try to falsify, what is supposed to be truly in nature. So just the whole overstanding of what a woman's natural position is in her family and just even in life. Most of them, of course, as you just said, just touched on many a broadcast. It's not the only one. Where you saying how we know to be the fact that the households are being raised by these broken women, so they're raising broken men. They're not comprehending what their true purpose in life are, and so what they do is the woman gives them a purpose, and that purpose is skewed. It's not really the true purpose of a man. They're giving them a feminized purpose of what they think a man should do or be, and that's not necessarily what the Most High had intended. So my apologies, but go ahead, good brother.
No, I should just say that's a fact.
And looking into more how, like, they got the, it's ironic. I saw a report about a group of women, Israeli and Hamas women coalition. So you have a Israeli coalition and Hamas coalition has been established for about 20 years now, and they're having these meetings and so forth about whatever they're talking about. I look at when I first saw that, it made me think in my mind how the culture of Israeli and Hamas, or we talking about Judaism or what they want to call Judaism and Islamic fundamentals, how they, like, what a woman is talking about in that forum is truly truly irrelevant to the boots on the ground for the people that's actually fighting the war. Those people that are actually losing their lives, which are the men. So whether or not you're dealing with a coalition of women who's been established for over 20-something years, there's no forward movement that they're going to do to actually bring a solidarity or peace to what's going on. That's just like, what do you call that? That's just like window dressing. That's not really going to touch on what the real issue is, because the men, allegedly, I don't know what the actual trueness of it all is, but is supposed to be fighting for liberty. They're actually putting their lives and bleeding for liberty. And these women are having these talks you're not going to get liberty by way of talks. Well, if you can, so be it, more power to them. But I haven't seen that in history. And history is going to give us the actual blueprint of what actually works and what didn't work.
Right.
So, these women talking about, we need to stop this, we need to stop that. It's just lip service. It's not actual going to change the boots on the ground conditions.
Right. Yeah, I see someone came in the room, but they didn't come over here. There's Doors Shamsta, whatever that name is right there. They came in, they put a lot of comments, but when I invite them to come on the call to speak, they don't do that. And I understand why, and they understand why. Where's Julio today? Where's Kadar today? The authorizer is probably driving. Anybody out there want to add on? Come and add on to the cipher.
Where's K-Bird? Where's K-Bird? The young lady who was on.
She never showed back up. I take those things with a grain of salt when they say that. That's a typical debtor move, man. I'm more than so used to that. Debtor move.
And in their mind, they don't actually they don't really know what a debtor is because they're stuck on debtor being somebody in terms of finance, although that is a debtor, but there's a mentality side behind that they're missing on. Like what brought you in that whole situation is the mental part of yourself, not just the financial.
Yeah, they say things. Oh, there's Julio right there. They say things, man, that they don't live by. What's going on, Julio?
Shalom, shalom.
You must be outside.
Yeah, I'm outside. Is my service terrible?
Oh no, I just hear wind or something. It seems like it got clear now.
Okay. Yeah, nah, I didn't catch any of the
Oh, what?
I didn't catch any of the right knowledge today. I'm just tapping out. I just went through an experience today though, last minute. Man, it's a lot going on. Hold on, I know that. Got this daggone ambulance behind me and some more stuff. I let them go past. I'm gonna mute my mic. I don't want to disturb the.
No, it's good. It's gone. It's gone. We can't hear it anymore.
Yeah. So I just had an unexpected dealings today. Yeah. So I had a court date on the Virginia side.
Mm-hmm.
And
already?
Well, the one that's late this month is in Maryland. You know,
I'm saying you went to court already though?
Yeah, already. I was in court. Yeah, I was in court just now. I just left. I made the first what do you call it? I asked her was she a magistrate or a judge. This was pertaining to child support Title 4D enforcement. This was the enforcement. And so yeah, basically they make a long story short, yeah, the first judge or whatnot, I didn't step across and jump into the water or whatnot. I stood right there at the behind the bench. And then I had I basically just told them like I don't consent to any of this or whatnot. And reserving on my rights. And I make a long story short, she tried to get me to give her address. So I'm like United States of America Republic or whatnot. And I don't know if you can't even call them prosecutors. I guess they were like, just agents of the Title 4D or whatnot, two of them.
Yeah. So
they were, just mad as heck or whatnot. I wouldn't give them my address, and the judge had kind of like got upset. And I'm like, yeah, this court doesn't, no disrespect, but the court doesn't have jurisdiction, man. I'm like, so I don't consent to any of this. I don't wish to contract with this agency, and this was last minute, so I'm just right there, straight up standing on my square, and and I'm like, so ma'am, are you a magistrate, a judge, or a lawyer? And then she well, hold on, the court is in recess. I've seen this before. So she put the court in recess and ran out the side door, and then the sheriffs and everybody came up to me or whatnot. They try to do the intimidation factor. I already know about all that, so it ain't fazed me at all. So then they come up to me and tell me to step out the courts or whatnot. Not step out the court, but step out the door. And then they proceed to tell me, yeah, we're going to move your case to this other courtroom right here. And so I'm like, hold on. Like, I mean, they need to just go ahead and dismiss this matter. Like, what are they doing all this for? And then so I guess they try to put me in front of another, a better seasoned judge or whatnot that can actually deal with me.
Yeah. So, so let me just add something real quick. If they ever told you to step out, I wouldn't do that without reserving my rights, right? And what I mean by that, because they gave you an order, and if you comply to that order, then you just put yourself under their jurisdiction. So if they told me to step out, I would probably say, if it doesn't offend the court, I'm going to go ahead and step out here. Where, you know what I mean? Just kind of rephrase, just make sure you're doing it from your own accord. But
right.
Without doing any kind of argument, just let them know you're not taking orders from them, because jurisdiction is control. And so the other thing, you see how they kind of move it?
They moved it to another. Go ahead. My
But
bad.
check this out. I would have said I don't consent to that. I would immediately went to the clerk of court and issue an order to overturn that decision, because that particular judge abandoned the ship. The judge left the court, and so therefore you was left in charge of the court.
Right.
So, for the record, before I left that court, if it was a court of record, I would have said, for the record, I requested this case be dismissed with prejudice. Well, they just abandoned the court. They left it there. Well,
right.
Yeah.
So look, I can't double back and do it. That was a major quasi court just now. That was it was in a state court, but that was like the bottom floor just for child support or whatnot. I even told him, like, look, I'm not trying to alert the public with none of this stuff. You know what I mean? That she jumped out of she jumped out of that seat so fast and ran to the side door, got up out of there, quarters in recess. So you're saying there's no way that and then, like I say, the sheriffs told me to step out, or when I wasn't trying to disrespect them or whatnot, but I should have said that, but I didn't think of that. I ain't had you right there. I didn't even think of that, like, as far as, them thinking that but I did tell the sheriff, like, this, they, like, y'all have no jurisdiction over me. And then at the end of the whole thing, they tried to tell me to leave the court altogether. And I'm like, hold on, I'm waiting for somebody as well.
If I could ask one question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
My bad. Oh, my bad. You was talking to Kahan.
No, I was talking to you, good brother Julio.
Go ahead.
When they were saying, you said that they said leave the court, whatever, and you left the courtroom, and you were saying that they was trying to say that was going to be heard in another courtroom.
Yeah, and it was. Yeah, I went into another courtroom. They went from courtroom A to courtroom B, and then the one it was an Eve in the courtroom A, and then there was some, they both Caucasian or whatnot. That doesn't even handle there, but it was a Eve in the courtroom A, and then older older Caucasian man in the courtroom B. And he's claimed he was a real judge, not a real judge, of course, but he said he was a judge. And the other one didn't even answer the question. She just ran out. You know what I mean?
What happened?
Yeah.
What
Go
happened
ahead.
What happened when you went inside the one with the mail?
The one with the mail, he basically tried to railroad me. Like, if you don't, he set another court date, because I told him I don't consent to any of this. You know what I mean? And I don't wish to contract with you guys. And he was like, well, you can't do that if you don't what did he say? If you don't, basically, he trying to force me to take a what do you call it?
A plea.
Paternity test. Trying to force me to take the paternity test, and he's like, if you don't do it, then we're gonna assume that you are. You know what I mean? And they gave me
so your rebuttal would have been to that is Your Honor, is an assumption law. Yeah, it is an assumption law. Can you please show me the law that states that I must take a paternity test? That right there is a voluntary thing, huh? Because it's my DNA. You understand what I'm saying?
100%.
My DNA.
100%. At that point, they do all that stuff. Like, I promise y'all, like, I wasn't in on no debtor mess or none of that. At that point, he was like, I'm not answering any more questions of you. You're gonna just do it. Like, they was just trying to assert all that power. You know what I mean? Trying to fake assert. So it's like, I didn't even want to argue with him or whatnot, or even, like, say anything. But I'm like, assume. I'm instantly knowing that that's not law. But my thing is, of course, now it's like the next step. But they set the matter for in August or whatnot. But I'm gonna put in the
questions.
I'm gonna put in the affidavit.
See, as long as you ask questions, you can't get in trouble. And this is not legal advice, right? If you need legal advice, you can suffer competent counsel, right? But whenever he makes statements, respond with a question, Your Honor, isn't that coercion?
Of course.
I did not consent to a paternity test. Is that not coercion? Let him answer it. See how I respond then.
You also you have the opportunity, you have the ability to even rebut the presumption from going from courtroom A to courtroom B. One of the things that I'm sure Kahan is familiar with that they call it in law is called an ambush.
Mhm.
So I'm not prepared. So I wasn't prepared to go from courtroom A to courtroom B. I wasn't prepared. So even also when you made the statement that the judge in courtroom A did not have jurisdiction, and all due respect, you don't. Well, I won't say you don't. I, in my own mind, perceive that to be a debtor statement. I would basically have said I do not see evidence of jurisdiction.
Right.
Okay, worded a little bit better. Okay.
So, but you know, the fact that he went over there was a voluntary act. You understand what I'm saying? He
That that
volunteered to go over to that court. You see what I'm saying?
that can be that can I don't want to say rebutted, but it can be refuted or whatever word that may be appropriate would be. That was done because the person that told you to do that was an armed individual, and for fear, when I say fear, but let's say
Run it back, Sovereign. Run it back. I got a text and it had blocked out the voice. I couldn't hear you.
the individual that suggested that you move from courtroom A to courtroom B was an armed.
Well, he didn't
individual.
suggest that. He gave him a polite command, and he obeyed to that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so for me, I'm thinking that I would have only done that under threat, duress, and coercion because I didn't want to, for whatever purpose it may be. So it's still the ball is still in your court. It's all on how you deal with the response to the whole situation. It's not dead in the water unless you give up and you throw your hands and you walk away.
Right.
So although it's not a court of record, if you was to appeal this particular case, would it not be? Let's say if you was to appeal this particular case to appellate court, I'm not sure what your jurisdiction is. I don't know what court it would go to, but you appeal the situation. If you're appealing it, would not the clerk's record be the court's record?
I would have to assume that it would be. My whole thing is that how can you try to force somebody to take a DNA test?
They can't force you to do anything. I was looking at something not too long ago where this order came down from a pro hoc is what they call PROHAC. Again, that's PRO Hotel Alpha Charlie pro hoc. So it has Judge Jane Doe pro hoc, and that is not an actual oath-taking judge. That's just an attorney sitting and acting as a judge. So it's a consent order that came down. So when the consent order comes down and it was put inside the record, that's saying that whoever the case was against consented to the judgment of that particular court. So if you allow that consent judgment to stand unrebutted, that consent judgment stands as law.
Right.
So if she told you to leave courtroom, well, she didn't tell you to leave courtroom. So that's not a court. That was not an authorized court decision. That was something given to you, or let's say given to a party by that's hearsay, because that's a court order. It has to come down, put into the record, saying that this particular judge disqualified themselves from hearing this particular case. Or something to the effect of, and again, as good brother said, it's of course not legal advice.
Right.
So it's for entertainment information purposes only. So when that judge, when that magistrate, or that's not even a judge, that when that attorney told you, she didn't even tell you anything. She just got up and left.
She got up and left, fam.
It would need something. So how I would, if it was me, how I would do it is, I would bring it back to court A. And how I would bring it back to court A is I would put something in the record, what's the word called? Noting that once whoever that particular attorney was left that particular courtroom, because I only had allegedly had an agreement to come in and see whatever it was for that particular thing in courtroom, whatever. Everything is, because dealing with law, everything is specific. So if I received what is called a notice, right?
Right.
And let me ask, I will ask you this: did you file a notice of special appearance prior to going there that day?
I didn't.
Okay, you said it was a last minute. When you say it's last minute, can you define that what you mean?
I'm talking about calling in to check and make sure which courtroom I'm in for another matter involving the custody, and then I found out that it's another matter within, I'm talking about like 3 days. So I'm talking about that quick of a last minute. And then I already was taking my cousin to court because he's into it with his landlord.
That's too
because
much.
they're not fixing something.
That's too much information. Again, sometimes we could say too much that's irrelevant to the situation. And so when, let's say like this, let's say if I had
3 minute note, 3 day notice, basically.
Right. When I had a particular judge, a magistrate, black robe, state that there was going to be a hearing on let's say the 28th, right? But notice wasn't given until the 25th. I don't mean that it was received in the mail or anything. That it was actually, the order was entered on the 25th, stating that there was a hearing to be held on the 28th. Well, according to law, you're supposed to be given a certain amount of time depending on your territory or jurisdiction. So if you're not given that there is no jurisdiction given until notice has been provided. If you have not, what would scuttle, basically destroy that whole entire ship in the water, will be the fact that there is no notice which establishes jurisdiction. So even going from courtroom A to courtroom B will be null and void if courtroom A did not establish jurisdiction. So you don't have to. Well, I would not argue courtroom B at all. I would not argue courtroom A at all. I would stick. Well, of course, we always want to make sure what we're doing is according to the laws of our jurisdiction or whatever. If you are in that jurisdiction, to ensure that you will provide a good notice. Because how it goes is that there's certain, like what they call them, show cause orders. And show cause orders, depending on your jurisdiction, or normally have to be given within. It says a hearing be held in no less than 10 days and no more than 30 days. So 10 days goes back to the whole thing about administrative process, of course, what the Kahan has been giving us throughout the years. So you got 3 days for the mail, 3 days to decide, 3 days to answer, and 1 day for a Sunday, which give us our 10 days. So that's why in law it says that they want to give you no less than, the hearing to be held in no less than 10 days and no more than 30 days. So, it don't have to be no more than 30 days, but it's definitely going to be no less than 10 days. But the average show cause order is going to actually be stated in that effect, to where that's like a summons. Once a summons has been issued and you file notice to the court that the summons has been issued, that the hearing should be held within 30 days of the issuance of the summons. This is basically going back to their laws. So you don't really, you can argue if you want, but we don't, of course, if we coming from right now's perspective, Todd's doctrine, we don't want to go into a courtroom and argue anything. We definitely want to ensure that we are asking questions so that even if I was to go back over to courtroom B, which I don't have to, right? But I will go back. Let's say if I were to address courtroom B, and this individual's telling me anything, I don't know who you are. I don't know your authority. I don't know where you derive your authority from. I don't even know why I'm even here. If it was to be, let's say, to touch on what the good Kahan was saying in reference to you submitting to jurisdiction because you left from courtroom A to courtroom B, right? And let's say that you go into default and they can hold you in contempt, and you appeal a case, and you was like, yeah, well, that particular person who told me to go over here, that's hearsay. Well, it is no longer an argument because you agreed to it, you consented to it, you went over there. So you have to rebut the entire whole process, going back to the fact of where the courtroom. So if you start arguing what courtroom B did, then you have given jurisdiction to courtroom A to even have the argument about courtroom B. So
right.
You know what I'm saying? So you want to go back to the source code. This is dealing with Kahan Tazadaq. One of the most truest things I've started. I was like, yo, what is he talking about? The Matrix? The Matrix and code writing. But if you don't deal with computers in depthly, it doesn't really make sense. But a code writer, the first line you writing for your code, you're creating something. So you got to go back to that first code. So you don't want to worry about the product of the code. You want to go and analyze the code itself to see where they have the malware inside that code writing. So if it's malware inside that code, you want to attack and address that malware because that's the deficiency, which does not give off. So you follow what I'm saying? It doesn't give the authenticity to courtroom B to even have jurisdiction. So we're not. Courtroom A and courtroom B are both up under the state court. So whether
right next door to each other, exactly.
Well, next door, that's cute, that's cool, but in reality, court is state court. You've given state court jurisdiction, which means that it could be courtroom Z. It don't even matter what courtroom you went to. That court, you've established that they have. So you can't. Well, I'm not saying you can't. I would not argue about anything that happened in courtroom B. I would go back and establish the foundation of jurisdiction because notice has to be given. So, and how I would properly address that, according to what I've experienced and learned, and I say this in the most humblest way, the most dynamic teachings I've learned from reading Kahan Tazadaq's books, going through the videos over and over, is establishing jurisdiction. I was not provided notice for the day that you were in court, but I'm not arguing that because you don't want to go to court with an argument. And how I love to agree with my adversary quickly, I always begin with all due respect. If it may please the court.
They sent the sheriff out to talk to me, and she would not leave out of my face. She was trying to talk to me for like 30 minutes just because of how much respect I was giving her. But only reason I went to courtroom B because I didn't want them to do no little fake old default because they try to railroad you real quick. But I didn't have that info that y'all telling me in my mind at this exact time. Because you're right, it's like that was an order to a degree, and I did technically, even though I didn't come across the bench again, it's still I technically did. Yeah, the bar. I mean, the bar.
I would also want to encourage the listeners to understand that this is still in conjunction with today's lecture, what Kahan was talking about, dealing with the eaves, because that's your whole product of why you're in the situation that you're in. This is not off topic. This is still within the same realm, but we're now further down the road to after effects of dealing with the man not being the head of the household, and you're dealing with an Eve that feels though that she can do whatever she wants to do, however you want to take it from that point. But just to really go in depth on that point of, let's say, all individuals or myself, should I have been put in that situation, is dealing with the fact of jurisdiction. So you want to actually what's called construct the record. I would, excuse me, I apologize. I don't mean you would. I don't mean in that perspective. I mean, what I would do is construct the record to the fact that I would ask the court to establish, or somewhere along the line, without giving out too much information, because it's not something that I would actually, feel obligated, or not obligated, but this is not my forum. This is Kahan's forum. So it's going back to old videos and seeing what Kahan said as far as how he would deal with certain situations like this, by asking questions of the court. And if you understand the power of asking questions, is why that bar card holding attorney got up and walked away. She didn't walk away because you made a statement. She got up and walked away because you asked a question. So I was to go back into the court, and I don't mean go back into the court physically. I mean, if I was to address the court, I would address the court in question format by way of what's called interrogatories. Kahan got video on here from a long while ago, maybe 2014, 2015, where he broke down, what is it called? The parts of litigation. That's not what it was called, but this is basically what it is he was giving you interrogatories, admissions, depositions, subpoenas, and he was giving you a breakdown, because these are important aspects of litigation that we're not aware of and we're ignorant of.
Right.
So you may want to try to, of course, get a good consultation with the Kahan and find out what your next move would be. But you don't really, if you was to move as creditor, You don't even have to deal with courtroom B. You just stick with courtroom A.
Yeah, this fool doing a little grass cutting mess behind me. Let me move. But yeah. Nah, they was on some railroad type of mess though, fine. But you absolutely right. But they was on some. All right, we just about to we don't care what he say, what questions he asks. We just about to do our thing, and because it ain't no record, it ain't no court of record, and we just gonna test to see how far his knowledge or how far he can take it. We're gonna see if he could file a claim. Like I was under that type of impression that that's what they was doing, because I ain't no fool, even though I know what you talking about, fine. Like I know my stuff as well to a degree, so it's like they was on that mess, fine. Like they was just gonna railroad regardless. I could have asked this or that question, all of that, because I basically did. I told them like I don't consent to this, like like
Yeah, but
this matter should be dismissed. You know what I mean?
Unless you're saying it under oath, unless you're putting it in the record, it doesn't exist.
Right.
So that becomes an argument, which means you have to. It's another court proceeding for it. The whole thing what Kahan has been doing, not saying that I even know what he's been doing, but from what I've seen, is to avoid going to court. So let's say go back when I said the Black Robe put out a order for a show cause, right? So she put the order show cause out. Although I didn't receive anything in the mail, I was aware of it, right? So she put the show cause out. So 3 days later was when the show cause hearing was supposed to be heard. I did a special appearance, not on paper, but in person. Yet
Right.
before I left that particular venue, I put into the record a special appearance. So should it have been appealed to a higher court, the higher court would have, there's certain things that they would be able to deduce from the record. The fact that the show cause order was issued on the 25th and the show cause hearing was held on the 28th, the fact that I put a special appearance in on the 28th was valid because there was not enough time for an answer to actually be filed prior to the court date. So you haven't been...
Well, that, not to cut you off, but that's when I found out that this date, because they kept trying to get my address, and what they did was one of my BM with this particular matter, she tried to serve me, I'm assuming. Well, ain't no assuming, I mean, I'm sure she did. She tried to serve me at an old address. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if I would have never called, I wouldn't have even known about it, because she tried to serve me at an old address, and then tried to because they kept saying like, so you didn't get any notice about this, you're like, you didn't know this from any of it. And I was like, nah, I didn't. I was like, I called up pertaining to another matter and then found out that I had court to do.
No, good brother. And what I'm saying is that sometimes we can be talking too much. We talk too much, and we're making too many statements. She's asking me, did I get notice? Do you have evidence that I've received notice?
Yeah, dang. Yeah, you got me right there. Facts. Yeah, I should have came right with that question. Do you have evidence of receiving notice?
I can't argue something that's not in evidence. Or should I say, if you do argue what's not in evidence, then you make it a fact. So it's best to, in my opinion, for myself, I would not argue with the court saying, asking me, did I get notice? Okay, for me to properly answer that question, is there any evidence that I did receive notice? One of them, there's so many, and I've said this over and over again, I keep saying there's one, and I guess it becomes more particularized our conversations where there's certain things that stand out that Kahan has put out that always come to mind. And it's when he was standing before the court and he was asking, does anyone here have a verified or certified claim against me? I'm not.
Soon as the courtroom was over, I was like, man, why I didn't say, do they got a certified claim against me? I'm talking about as soon as I left out the door of the court, not the courthouse, but the courtroom, I thought that instantly popped up in my mind.
We was having a conversation some weeks ago where the Kahan was talking in reference to making objections, and I was tried to get a greater understanding of timeliness of making objections. It may be found in law that an objection can be made at any time. It may not have to necessarily be made at the moment the objection in someone's mind should have been made. Let's say while a person was on the stand, because maybe you didn't have enough information to actually object to it, But after going over the testimony or going over the evidence, you realize that maybe it might have been contradictory testimony, and then you object to it a day or 2 or 3 days later, and you say, you know what, I object to that particular, I move for that to be strike from the record. That's if it's a court of record. So you may have the ability to, but again, here's the thing. You're not in a court of record. So you don't know what her notes say to, because her notes becomes the record. How to properly put it in perspective is, even though you're not in a court of record, the judge or the master of the black robe is sitting up there taking notes about certain things being said. And that becomes a part of the record if it's going to be appealed. It may become, I'm not saying it is definitively, it may become a part of the record. So you can't really, you can't, what is it called? It says, I cannot intelligently rebut an unstated statement. I can't intelligently rebut it. So I have to know what's actually being stated. So since it's not a court of record, nothing has been said unless it's in the record, unless it's filed with the clerk of the court. Then it becomes, it may, or according to law, depending on your jurisdiction, it may be part of the record.
Right.
So if you go and you check the court record and you find that the judge issued an order saying to move from courtroom A to courtroom B, or the judge issued an order saying such, she would have to prove everything in there according to, let's say if she said to move from courtroom A to courtroom B. Well, I didn't get the order because you walked out the courtroom. So I would have to ask questions to establish, because maybe I missed something. This is one of the most important things I know I learned. Again, it's like I keep saying one, but it's many of things. Voluminous, volumes full of information I've learned from Kahan, to where I'll be saying to myself, you know what did I do wrong? You know what? Maybe you did tell me and I didn't hear it. Can you state that for the record now? Can you state it for the record? Did you advise the respondent to leave courtroom A to go courtroom B? And if so, when did you say that, and so forth? These are I just have questions I need to ask in order for me to intelligently follow the orders of the court, because every order that's given, I may have to, it may be a cost to that order, maybe a cost to the court, maybe a cost to me. So I need an accountability sheet or itemized account of every order that's been given to see who owes who. I might owe the court. Maybe the court did tell me, maybe she did tell me to go to courtroom A to courtroom B. I just didn't hear it. So she might have said it under her breath, and the only one who heard it was the bailiff that was standing next to her, and he came over and told me. Or maybe she told the bailiff to go tell him to do such and such, and I didn't hear her say it. But then that goes down to what's called hearsay, because that becomes third hand. Because if I heard it from the sheriff, I didn't hear it directly from the judge. That's not an order from the judge. That's something from the sheriff. And does the sheriff take responsibility? And if he does, do I know the sheriff's name, his badge number, and I need his bond information from that? Because if he's not paying for it, then I got to pay for it.
Facts. Yeah, I applaud to that. Facts.
So if you sit down and you think, right, you want to actually go over. And one of the things that we do, or should I say we don't do, we don't take notes. We walk into the courtroom and we egotistically, I know myself, I did this many years ago. I would think, I don't need to do this because I'm intelligent. I could do such. No, it's good to take notes. If I'm listening to the judge talk, I'm sitting there with a pen and a pad. If I don't have a recorder, because I'm going to record. But if I don't, I'm gonna write down. I'm like, okay, so I'm saying, Your Honor, please, can you say that one more time, please? Because I'm trying to take notes here. I need to take notes. So if it's testimony being given, if you go back, but if you watch certain real long cases go out, you'll notice that when let's say the state has a witness on the stand, and then defense comes over and they're going to do a cross examination. When a defense comes up to the podium to cross examine a witness, in many cases you'll see the briefcase reading from a notepad because he wrote down some of the things that the witness said that he needs to get clarification on. This is the same thing we're doing when a black robe is talking. We should be taking notes. So, I do recall, because the judge got notes. Why am I gonna keep notes? What I would do is I would state the name, the date, the name of the courtroom, the judge, the name of the judge, the courtroom number, the time of the trial, and then I would, and if it has to be entered evidence, I would put it in the head of the affidavit. These are my notes from this particular case. So you have no notes. So everything that you're now saying becomes subject to an argument.
Yeah, I got some mental notes for this stuff. I remember, like, but you're right. I didn't personally take notes, and I will be from now on.
Or even if you got mental notes, sit down and write those mental notes down today. Sit down, because your mind will forget over time. So what based on your experience today, what do you feel as though dealing with the Eves and how you have to deal with the situation? What is your next move?
My next move is to put something in the record, as far as just into the clerk's office, and I'm gonna go get that. I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions that's pertaining to the matter, and I'm definitely gonna, you know what I mean, start with courtroom A, because like you said, I didn't hear any. She didn't straight up didn't tell me they had a judge come. I mean, they had a sheriff come approach me from way left field, one that wasn't even in the courtroom, and to tell me that I need to do my matter in courtroom B now. They gonna switch it over to there or whatnot.
Here's something I would throw my hat into my own ring, in a situation such as this, which I've done this before.
Mm-hmm.
Where if it's me, I'm going to state for the record, there's certain debtor statements and there's certain creditor statements. My creditor statement is my performance was done under threat, duress, and coercion, under protest, threat, duress, and coercion. That's my fact. That's my truth.
Yeah, well, I gave a little slight handwritten, it wasn't even a document, but I gave a notice to that first judge, and she said that she had it and seen it, and I let them know I'm only here strictly under threat, duress, and coercion for this matter is last minute, and and make a long story short, she acknowledged that she got it, but I know that they never probably passed it off to the other road.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
You care, right? That's who cares. Who cares? You care, right? So if you in your mind perceive that magistrate, that black robe does not have honor, what makes you think that she's going to put that into the record on your behalf? That's your job. That's your responsibility.
No, that's facts. Yeah, that's facts.
The clerk serves as a witness. Give it to the clerk. Who cares about the judge? I don't care about the judge. Judge, do you not have my communication?
Yeah, I'm just expressing like that's how last minute it was. Like, but you're right though. You're right, and I even handwritten it. I ain't even had the time to type it. But you absolutely right.
If in my situation, because I've seen plenty of handwritten documentation. When I look up, like, what the hell is this person saying? I can't even read what the hell they wrote down. It's not legible. I'm gonna have to begin to assume and presume what they're saying. And then not only that, according to what is it called? Where it's certain Supreme Court, as well as maybe in your district, certain court rulings where it says that the judge is supposed to infer where they can't hold it at a bar court holding attorney standard, that they have to deal with some inferences to what you're trying to say. If I don't even know what you're saying, I can't really even infer what you're talking about because I can't read your handwriting. Or let's say if you even wrote legibly enough, maybe for an average individual, maybe the way you worded it may not have been comprehensible. So that's why you want to put it in a more of a. Although don't get me wrong, because I do understand the value of a handwritten document, because it shows that it was written by a man.
Right,
but
right.
My signature is the man. That's my signature. So I want to make sure that my E is not overwriting my R on my I, and that they can comprehend every letter of the word. So that's why the type format is more what they say, encouraged. They want to encourage you to make sure it's legible. So even though you gave your notice of appearance to the that person, I don't think she carried. Not only that, she don't even have a oath of office, so she don't even have to be honorable.
Guarantee you she ain't had one. Right. Yeah.
So
and the other judge refused to answer my question on giving me his real name. He just kept giving me his title. I'm like, sir, that's a title. I'm like, can I have your name? He's like, Judge Cullen.
The Kahan has already went over that over and over and over again. That's somebody else's doctrine you're talking about. That whole thing about asking the judge their name. That's somebody else's doctrine. This is why. This is what we was talking about before, where Kahan's information is alive today. It's living. It's growing.
Yeah.
And so we don't ask. I don't really need to ask the judge their name. Even if I did, let's say if I was in a situation she was in, and I'm asking the judge, what is your name? I'm looking. I'm saying, well, it says Honorable Stephen J. Jones. So are you Stephen J. Jones? I'm not. So, but how the Kahan has formulated is that we don't have to go through all that crap.
Right.
Yeah. So the only thing, I'm hearing what the good brother has said, but initially when he showed up to court, the only thing he should have showed up for was to challenge the proof of service, right? And subject matter jurisdiction, right? Those are the only two things that should have been brought up. The whole issue about the parental, I would have never discussed it because that's an argument, like him telling me I'm gonna go and take it. The first thing that's always challenged is the jurisdiction. Now, in his particular case, it would have been to prove that he was actually served, not him prove it, but them to prove that he was properly served. The burden of proof is on them to prove that I was properly served. If not, I'm not even supposed to be here, right?
Right.
And then if they get me served properly, then the next thing I'm going to challenge, I'm not going to talk to him about parental. That's an argument. I'm going to talk to him about why he has personam jurisdiction and jurisdiction over the subject matter. So until jurisdiction established, all of this whole parental stuff should not even be discussed. It shouldn't even be mentioned. When he mentioned it, for the record, I object. I'm here for subject matter jurisdiction. Until jurisdiction is established, the court cannot proceed. And so, that's it. And so until they prove it, if you watch the videos on that, then the court can't move forward unless you move forward by getting into an argument, which, listening to this dialogue, they've gotten you to attempt to argue and to prove something several times, right? They got you to consent. You can't blame them because the sheriff, or it may have actually even been a bailiff. I don't know. I wasn't there.
It was a sheriff. It wasn't a bailiff.
So why was he in the court?
Nah, he wasn't even in the court. I stepped out of the first sheriff, which was not a bailiff as well, just a regular sheriff, had told me to leave the courtroom. They was pissed or whatnot. It told me to leave out of that particular courtroom and stand outside. And then that's when the other sheriff that I never even seen, he just came, some old tall dude, he came from way left and told, he like, you was such and such. And then that's when he was like, hey, they're going to hear your matter in this courtroom right here, courtroom B, which is, like I said, the very next courtroom.
It sounded like they was prepared for you, but you wasn't prepared for them, because you're saying it as if the tall guy came out of nowhere, as opposed to that this was a coordinated effort against you.
It was a coordinated effort against me, but they was just on some, I'm not trying to act like a know-it-all, because y'all giving me some heck of advice, and I know y'all know what y'all talking about. Like, I know for a fact. It's just, I'm telling you, they was on railroad status. With a point, I'm probably going to have to file a claim against they over, like, the second courtroom B over office. But they was on railroad status because I told them, I'm like, you have no jurisdiction over me, Your Honor. You have no subject matter jurisdiction either. And he was like, no, I do, because you're in my courtroom. Well, I'm like, I'm not past the I said bench. I accidentally said bench, but I'm not past the bench or whatnot. But I was touching the bar right there. You know what I mean?
Not arguing with that judge in courtroom B be going to, if they was to say, well, we have jurisdiction because such and such, would you not be giving validity to what they're saying?
Okay, so let me make something clear, because I don't think you have a clear understanding of why the sheriff may have been there. So the difference between a sheriff and a bailiff, right?
Mm-hmm.
A bailiff doesn't have the problem. They don't have the capacity to making an arrest. But if you see a sheriff in court, you could almost use that interchangeably almost with a bailiff, though the sheriff has more power. See, a sheriff, now I don't believe that there was two sheriffs, because there's only one sheriff per county.
Well,
Somebody
nah,
was
there's
probably a
plenty of
deputy.
sheriffs in Virginia. That's all they have is sheriffs.
Good brother, those are
Listen,
called
you gotta let me
deputies.
finish. I can't help you if you keep interrupting me.
My bad. Go ahead.
There's no
My
such
bad.
thing as more than one sheriff in a county. A sheriff is an officer that's voted into office. You understand? Now,
Okay.
a sheriff could have deputy sheriffs, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
some people there with him was probably deputy sheriffs, right? But there's
Okay.
only one sheriff. And a sheriff is an official position that's literally voted into office. Now, some places and some people, they will use the term sheriff and bailiff interchangeably, right? But
Right.
they are different entities, right? And so, depending on the situation, right? So, but a sheriff, again, is an elected official, right? And so
Right.
that particular official, they're responsible for maintaining law and order in a specific jurisdiction. A sheriff has a specific jurisdiction. And a sheriff is also usually the highest ranking enforcement officer in that particular county. That's why I'm telling you can't be two, right? If it's a different sheriff, then he's from a different county, right? And so now
Okay.
the difference between a bailiff and a sheriff is that the sheriff, the reason they probably had the sheriff in the court is because the sheriff has the power to make an arrest. A sheriff could also serve warrants, right?
Right.
And they also are known to provide security in courtrooms. So some people mistake them for bailiffs, but it's really a sheriff, right? So
Right.
they're literally responsible for enforcing the law and keeping peace. Now, well, on the other hand, when you're dealing with a bailiff is a court officer, and a bailiff is just simply responsible for maintaining order within a specific courtroom. A bailiff is not a law enforcement officer. People think they are because they see him with a weapon. They're not a law enforcement officer, and they don't have the power to make an arrest. So the primary role of a bailiff is to ensure the court proceedings run smoothly and that everyone in the courtroom follows rules.
Right.
That's why a bailiff, now they can escort witnesses to the stand, and and they can ensure that the jurors are safe, getting to the in court and out of court, but they don't have that power to make arrests like the sheriff does. And
So what
so,
did you say? So they either the top sheriff or either they're, because there's
a
100 of
deputy
them with the
sheriff,
sheriffs in
a
the with the
deputy
sheriff.
sheriff.
So they're deputy sheriff. Okay, so it was 100 of them in there.
Yeah.
And so that's what they were. They wasn't the real actual sheriff.
No, I mean the real sheriff could have been there, right? But he has deputies that work under him. You see what I'm saying?
Well, the lady that escorted me out, she claimed that she was the supervisor. She claimed that she was the top one out of all of them, and this was her whole realm. She made that clear or whatnot. But okay, my bad to cut you off. I just wanted to make that clear. So they deputy sheriffs. Okay.
Don't miss the fact that if maybe the fact that you put certain things into the record, maybe, or you challenged the court at some point for something that the judge, the magistrate, the black robe, they have certain cues that set up automatically for the security of the courtroom to know what to do and when to do it. It could be a nod, it could be a wave of the hand, it could be certain
Right.
words, statements being said. So when you saying that, if you think in your mind, right, reason in your own mind, what gives a sheriff the authority to come over you, tell you go from courtroom A to courtroom B without getting no word from the judge?
Yeah, now I knew that the whole time. I'm like, yeah, they just went when she ran out the side door. All she did was alert them. Hey, I don't know how to deal with this guy. What do I do? Or hey, can you, I can't deal with him. Like, you gotta take this step up to the plate and take this matter. He's beyond I can't deal with him. Like straight up, because I was making her look like a fool in the courtroom.
It's gonna go beyond even her. What I'm trying, good brother, if you really slow your mind down, because right now your adrenaline is high. So you really go right now. You're still going off a residual effect of what took place, and so you're emotionally involved. So it's hard for your mind to comprehend and process what really took place. This was already been set up. Well, I'm not saying it was. In my mind, for me, if I was in that situation, I'll believe somebody's playing chess with me and I'm playing checkers. Because how did the other judge in courtroom B already know what the fuck was? What the heavens was going on?
Right.
Right.
You mean to tell me that the clerk's paperwork left from one courtroom? Now I can see if the sheriff, deputy sheriff, took some paperwork from the courtroom, walked over to courtroom B and said, "Hey, here, judge, this is what's going on. Here's this court case." And then the judge, that master, before he said anything to me, looked over the paperwork again, and then knew he was talking about, and then addressed me. Then yeah, okay, maybe he didn't know nothing. But if we just starting to go into adjudication, I'm like, yo, something ain't right here.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, so the thing is, brother, is that it's commonplace to be nervous in these particular situations and not think clear until you get a lot of experience with it, because you don't want to make mistakes. And sometimes thinking so hard, not want to make mistakes, you make them anyway. I made them. Universal Sovereign Soul made them. Everyone that I know makes them. But but this is why, I used to do what is known as mock trials, right? At my seminars, go over these things. And I always play advocate with people. When they think they have an answer, I'll give them how a judge's mind will usually respond, right? What they will resort to. And so people think I'd be trying to, challenge them and make them look bad, but I'm showing you exactly what they're going to try and do. And like Universal was saying, this seems like it was already foreplanned, because I was going to say the same thing. In order for the sheriff to come up to you and say something like that, then he had to know, especially if the road went out the back. You see what I'm saying?
Of course.
And so, but again, the whole thing, you should have just went there to challenge the validity, proper service, which means they would have to show it that you was properly served. Either that, you had to either see, but hold on, you say you're in Virginia, right? Now Virginia,
for this particular matter, is in Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Virginia, I know the statues over there, they could simply leave something affixed to your door with a rubber band. That's considered to be proper service.
See, you really, damn, Kahan, that's facts. That's exactly how it go in Virginia. They Commonwealth. It's a little teeny bit different out there. Facts.
Yeah, they can just leave it to the door and you're served. Even if it blow off, they're gonna tell you should have looked around in that particular area. You know why I know? Because when I went to court for child custody, that's where I went. Because their mom was in the Navy, and she was in Virginia at the time.
Wow.
Down in the Norfolk Tidewater area, Virginia Beach.
Okay, like that's like 2 hours away from it, but still, either way, same thing.
Yeah, same thing, same kind of.
I'm right here across. Yeah, I'm right here at the DMV area, but even like you say, same thing. Facts.
Yeah, you're in Northern Virginia. I know who you are. Yeah.
Right.
If I can add on to this particular portion of it, is to where this is not your is this your first court date for this particular let's say file number or case number?
Facts.
Oh, this is the first court hearing for this particular case number? Okay, so have you looked at the record? Have you reviewed the court clerk's record?
I haven't.
Okay, so here's the problem. They don't have no record, right? So what they don't have, listen, right now, there's nowhere legally they can make him pay child support. So that's why the robe is trying to impose upon him and tell him he better go and take the paternity, right?
Right.
Because if they had a birth certificate with his name on it, there would be no need for the paternity test. So what the law states is, in order for him to be able to legally pay child support, there has to be a name on the birth certificate or a paternity test, or he just has to consent to paying it. So since they don't have any of them, their only option is the paternity test. So there's no way they can enforce that without the paternity test. You see what I'm saying? Other than a contract. And that's any state you go to, man. If you're not on the birth certificate.
Facts. Is this your first case with that particular court?
Facts. First case. Yeah. First case.
I want to be clear, because sometimes when I'm communicating with people, I kind of misunderstand what they're saying. And so just to be clear, let's say this, let's say this is case number 24 AB 111, right?
Mm-hmm.
This AB 2111 case was filed on some particular day, and an order was issued on 3 days ago, and you had a court date today.
No, I'm sure the court date was been issued, but I had just found out about 3 days ago.
Before a court date is actually issued, they have to receive. I could be wrong, but it depends on your jurisdiction. They will have to get what's called what is that called? Certification of service. If it's from a sheriff or a private process server that goes into the record, that will begin what's called the tolling of time for you to answer what has been filed, the claim that's been filed against you. So you have, let's say April 1st, somebody files a claim against this particular individual, John Doe, on April 1st. I'm sorry, April 1st, they file a case. They will have to get a process server to serve that person. Let's say they served them April 5th, and then April 5th, the process server, be it sheriff or private process server, they will file into court records on April 5th. Certification of service, and then from there, depending on the jurisdiction, give a total of time to when a court date will be heard or held. So let's say that today will be the day. So whatever the time tolling is, and then today will be that date. So it would be behooving upon you to review the court record to see what has been either by way of affidavit or hearsay alleged against you. When we're talking about, more importantly, jurisdiction, we're not talking about the claim against you. We're talking about whether or not someone's certified or verified service against you. And I wouldn't want to give across the wrong impression that a sheriff's return of service is certification or verification of service on you. That's not actually what's called in law certified service. That particular,
yeah, because she read out the old address with, like, I'm assuming, because I think that's the only way they could do it in Virginia. Like, she read out the old address saying that it was served right there, and they was kind of trying to get my address.
When you're saying that, that's cool, right? But I don't know what you're saying, and I'm thinking in terms of a higher court. A higher court gonna listen to what the judge said, because they're gonna assume that the judge knew what she was talking about. But in my case, before it gets to a higher court, I'm gonna have to ask the judge a couple of questions just so I understand. Because as I was trying to get across to you, just because the sheriff has returned service, that is not certified or verified service.
I agree.
Okay, why would you agree?
I agree because I figured that anyway, because that you can't really prove that. Like, that's just, they put it right there, and at the end of the day, I mean, they could put it anywhere that they figure that they have an address for.
How do they approve it, though? That's the next question. How? So the sheriff said, I tacked this on this person's door. Now, how do they prove it? How do they verify certified service?
I mean, go
in
ahead.
Virginia, they took a photo of it. They took a photo of it, and once it's there, the process server or the sheriff reports back to the clerk of court and inform them how they provided the service. See, the bad thing in a place like Virginia, they could just leave it. They could just leave it there. That's the bad thing about that kind of Commonwealth venue. They just leave it. And so in Virginia, you see how some people don't update their address information? Their statutes say if you can't find their current address, then you're going to go with the last known address, and that's going to consider to be proper service because the person didn't update their address information.
That's facts. That's facts. And this goes towards the lessons inside of the right knowledge, which I don't want to say how I say this more properly would be, I need, in my opinion, this is just, I could be wrong, I need to have that particular sheriff take the stand and state that he actually tacked that onto the particular door for it to become then verified or certified service. Because if I'm correct, and I could be wrong, it says something to effect about what is called this testimony is true and correct, firsthand witness, Anything outside of that becomes hearsay. So even if the sheriff did tack it to my door, that's cool. But once I begin arguing with the sheriff did, I make what the sheriff did become fact or truth. So I'm not, and this goes back to what Kahan always been saying. We don't want to create an argument. I'm not trying to create public dispute. All I'm asking is for clarity so I could be sure that, maybe the court is right. Maybe they did serve me, and maybe I did. It's my fault. So I'm trying to make sure that when I pay this receipt, when I pay my bill, that this bill is correct. That I want to itemize, make sure every time. Let's say if I got a water bill, did I really use this much water? Did I really use this much electricity? Let me itemize and make sure. That's all I'm doing. I'm not saying that the billing company is incorrect. I'm just saying I need to check. I need all checks and balances done. So if that sheriff actually did serve me, okay, cool. Well, I need him to come. I'm not saying that this is what you should do. Anyone should do. I'm just only saying that I just need to make sure that maybe, okay, what color was the house? Because maybe he put it on the wrong door, and I'm not even going that far. I'm not even going there because that's an argument. All I'm trying to say is look at the record, see what's in the record, and then ask questions about what you see in the record.
Come on.
Yeah.
And that's what you went through today is what I've heard many callers go through and say to Kahan over and over and over. They be like, yo, I should have said this or I should have said that. And Kahan just iterated that he made mistakes. Universal Sovereign Soul made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And that's how I learned. That's how, I can't speak for Kahan, but I'm sure, that's how he learned. More importantly,
that's a law.
More importantly, that's how he was able to give back to us by going through making those. And one day I was sitting down and I went through something with a court, and I said, "Yo, it made me laugh." I was like, "Yo, this is what the Kahan must have went through," because I was sitting back saying because I had made a mistake, and then I had to find a way how to remedy my mistake. And I was thinking about I think I had just recently watched the video at the time. This was some years ago. I had recently watched the video, and I was like, "Oh," when I heard the Kahan talk, I was like, "Yo, it sounds like this is an individual who is talking from experience." And so let me take his experience and let me not we underestimate the value of what we receive daily. Like most people, they don't appreciate or let's go back. If we could take our minds and we can time travel back to the time where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Noble Drew Ali or some of the other greats that walked the planet. Most people at that damn time didn't appreciate those individuals because they was readily available for them. They didn't appreciate Martin Luther King until he was gone. They didn't appreciate Malcolm X until he was gone. So right now, most people don't appreciate the Kahan because he's right here. He makes himself, this is the most important part. He makes himself available on a daily basis to be communicated with, to ask questions, to become challenged. And he's being tried and proven truth over and over and over again. You're saying the same thing I've said, and many other brothers and sisters who come across the information, and we've said, "Yo, I should have said this." I was recently saying not too long ago on a broadcast where I remember I used to go back kind of like, "Yo," and I would ask questions. I felt real dumb after I asked the question. After he answered the question, I felt dumb because I was like, "Yo, why didn't I know that? You already said that, and it makes sense to me." And I said, "You know what? I gotta stop doing this because I felt like I was utilizing him as a crutch." I'm not saying that I didn't appreciate his value, but I didn't appreciate what he had given me, in my opinion, because he had given us all something that is beyond measure in reality. Most people don't even see it today, and people are still walking around here and they're using it, but they don't even realize the true value of it. That you're able. This is what I was saying recently. I said that I don't want to be the man. I don't have to be the man. I don't want to be the man, but I could be next to the man that is the man, and I can take the blessings that man has been passing on, and I can make sure that I, distribute that amongst those of my peers. So when I look at somebody that has gone into a situation, let's say we are having this conversation right now, where the Kahan has afforded us the opportunity. Even I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for the Kahan, and we're having this conversation based on the fact that Kahan has established a platform for us to communicate. So now. So now, anything that I know that you may have received has only been by way of the fact that he is a conduit by way of the Most High that has been able to bless us all with information that over time it spreads, more importantly, that if we utilize it. So yeah, go through the period like today, like you feel some kind of way, embrace that feeling you felt or you feel by you making those mistakes, because that's how you're going to learn. If you start, I know if I was to be the kind of individual that says, well, I knew this or I should have known this, like even though I made a mistake, but I realized, let me embrace the mistake I made so I can be able to avoid it. Yeah, wow, Kahan was right. I was supposed to do it this. When you go back and listen to these videos, you're like, yeah, I should have did it that way. Like you said, after you had the colloquy, the back and forth with the mastery, you walked out and it's like, yo, I should have said such and such. But if you had not gone through that, because you went coming in to the venue, you was like, yeah, I know this, I know that, I know this, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, but then when you went through the being tried and tested, I'm not saying you failed the test, but you didn't actually go about the way to solving the equation the way that the instructor the Kahan had actually given you the curriculum, through the curriculum, how to actually address the situation. Because as you were stating certain things, I was like, yo, that's like a debtor statement, and I don't say that in a condescending way. I say that as being a person who's in a courtroom making making debtor statements. Like, yo, I remember saying to the judge this. I remember putting in my paperwork. I said, I said to the magistrate, I was saying something like, according to this particular such and such. That's still a statement. But there's certain statements I would say, well, in my opinion, that we can make that are of value, such as I can make a statement such as I was performed under protest, duress, threat, and coercion. That's my statement. That's not a debtor statement, in my opinion. It could be, but I was performing under protest, duress, threat, and coercion, because as Kahan was trying to get across, you may have, or the name may have been served, but you don't even know it. So you're now walking into the courtroom. You're now walking to the courtroom making debtor statements, and you don't even know if service has been properly rendered. Only thing that I would surmise or reason that you were able to get that particular magistrate on was the fact that she didn't have an oath of office. So she knew, and she was keen enough to get up and walk out saying, you know what, this is it, I'm walking out. You know what I'm saying? So she knew that much, but she had more information than you have. So you don't even know if in the record it says that, because this goes back to assumption and presumption. So when the sheriff comes back and the sheriff says, he puts into the record, he served such and such, on this particular day, or he tagged us to the door, that's an assumption and presumption, because it stands unrebutted. So that becomes truth and fact and law. So we don't, not saying we, let's say in my case, if that was me, I wouldn't know if I had not looked into the court record to see if service had been rendered. Then it's upon me to challenge jurisdiction by also challenging the service. He said he served 999 Right Knowledge Road. So, I may live 998 Right Reason Road. He served the wrong address. How do I know that? I don't know it unless I look at the record. There was one situation where we will have this properly. The sheriff attempted to serve a summons to a business, right? And the sheriff put into the notes saying that this particular person, let's say Jane Doe, said they cannot accept service. Okay, cool. That goes into the record. So then you go back and you start arguing. You give validity to the fact of what the sheriff stated, but we don't know if who is Jane Doe? I don't even know if Jane Doe actually worked there. He could have been at the wrong address. But if you don't know the facts, you put yourself at a disadvantage even walking into the courtroom. So that's why I was saying to you previously, when I got I didn't receive notice because I have a care of address. So, but what I did was in my mind, I always think it's the most important. I keep saying it's the most important things. It's always remain in honor. So when I had become aware of it, when it was brought to my knowledge of that it was a court date, I said, I want to be in honor. Whether I was served or not, I want to be in honor. But how I'm staying in honor is I'm going to say I'm here by special appearance. So although that particular black robe didn't perform, service wasn't performed according to law, right? So where they served, how do I say this properly? If the judge signs an order on the 25th, submits the order to the clerk, and the clerk submits it on the 25th, that court date is on the 28th, there's no way that you could properly be served unless it's by way, this don't even matter, but this, in my mind, there's no way you could properly be served and be prepared for a court in 3 days. That's why they have the 10-day rule. So it says no less than 10 days and no more than 30 days. So it gives, it's called, what is it called? It's up under the 14th Amendment, which is fair, about being given a fair trial. So beginning a fair trial, you have to be able to prepare for a trial, to prepare for the hearing. So there's the before aspect of it all. So even though, so if you go back and you review the record and you see in the record, it says that the sheriff or the magistrate tacked it onto the door, I don't argue that. I would never argue that. I just would like to be able to question the particular individual that did that. So I may want to do interrogatories, depositions. Everything I'm going to do is I wouldn't want to take the trial, but I'm going to do everything I have to avoid to get a summary or a dismissal before trial. But the only way I could do that is by, what is it? It's Federal Civil Procedures 59, where it says something about when you're asking for a new trial. I think that's what it's called, where it says something about where you're not doing this for a delay. It's not a delay tactic and none of that stuff. It goes on to say something about, the brother dropped off. But for the listeners, it goes on to say something about, what is it called? Based on the information. Oh, no, this goes back to Federal Civil Procedures 8. We're talking about your pleadings, where you're saying that you've from your investigation or your inquiry, that this is based off of that information. So the good brother Julio can only go off of the information if he did his own investigation or his own inquiry. If he did none, then he's subject to everything that's inside the record.
Yeah, but he volunteered for it all. He volunteered for everything. Shalom, huh?
Shalom, how you doing?
Hey, John Bourne. Your recent success. Which book do you accredit to the success that you just ascertained? You told me yesterday you discharged 14,000, man. I mean, were you listening to someone else on YouTube, or was it the foul mouth Kahan Tazadaq? How did you get such a remedy? What does that make for you now? $114,000? $114,000 that you've discharged?
$114K. I only listen to the foul mouth and liberate the oppressed. That is the book of wonders right there. What is so powerful about the EFT? Once they get it, you're out of debt. It's done. You're out of debt. Yeah, I got the confirmation and everything yesterday, and life is good.
So how come the other T-Dot, why these T-Dot guys are not discharging debt like this, Jordan? What is it?
I don't know. Either maybe they're not buying the books, or if they are buying the books, maybe not read the books. And I pray that they purchase and read the books and understand what thou readest before you put it out there.
But you tell me you was enjoying the plug now also. Now you see the wonders in the book, the plug. Now you see why Crystal was so excited with it.
Yeah. Oh, man. I tell you, folks are sleeping on that plug. I didn't realize it had that much content in it. Man, I got a backpack full of books, and I can only get Liberate the Oppressed and the plug in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good. I mean, when you get the books, I know you're going to read them, and I know you're going to get, your remedy. So when you told me yesterday I discharged another 14,000, in my mind, I'm like, so? What else are you supposed to do? If you show them the law? But you said a woman was trying to give you, like, we haven't gotten your payment or something? Or one of the typical tactics that they try and play on folks?
Yeah, what was real, I guess, unique about that is she had called me and she wanted to actually create Joinder because they record those phone calls. So I confessed to her that I was the authorized representative of the all capital letter name, and she did not want to move forward with giving me any information. So of course I stated to her, well, you called me. I did not want any information, but since I do have you on the phone, what I will go ahead and let you know is payment. It shows right here on the certified mail piece that you received it already. It should be in your box. So she said, okay, all right, well, you have a great day. So right after I spoke to her and told her about that, I guess you could say maybe 30 minutes later, I got an email. And as a matter of fact, I'll read you the email that I received. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull that up. It's a short email.
Okay.
It's not,
all right.
yeah.
And so this is why it's so important to be a secure party creditor and read these books, man. People think I'm just, he's just trying to sell his book. I'm actually trying to help you out. Because all the remedy, anything that they found online, I've written about it in these books, man. I've been doing this for 16 and a half years, man. Think about it. A briefcase goes to law school for 2 years, huh? I've been doing this for 16 and a half years now. And they say, well, how does he know this? Man, if you study and stand up until 3 and 4 in the morning for 16 years, you'd be astounded by how much you can know.
As a matter of fact, I stayed up till 5:30 morning studying. I was studying Liberate the Oppressed and the Plug. Man, I'm like a fat kid eating candy. I'm like, okay, well, let me look at Liberate the Oppressed. All right, let me go to the Plug. Let me look at that. I'm just going back and forth, man. These books are the truth. And, if you got those two books, you can't go wrong. But anyhow, nevertheless, this is the email. It's really short. So it says, attention, payment posted. We have received your payment. Dear John, this message serves to notify you that your payment was received by mail and has been posted to your account. Now, keep in mind, I always give them a little bit more than just the $14,000. So the amount I wrote it for was $15,265. Effective date May 6, 2024. Check number, it doesn't matter.
So let me ask you this. Did you use Federal Reserve notes to set that off? Or did you use something out of one of Tazadaq's books?
Oh, man, I used exactly what Liberate the Oppressed stated, which was my ink pen. I tendered payment based off of what was in Liberate the Oppressed, and that's what I paid it with. And as a matter of fact, when I had qualified, of course, I qualified for the loan, that was my first payment. That was my first and only payment.
Was it set off? The discharge?
Gone, set off. That was it.
So I got one question for you because I'm interested. Why are these guys that's been around Kahan Tazadaq for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years has not discharged one debt? I gotta know, John. What is it? How did you come around so quick? You read the material and you've discharged over $114,000 in debt. So this is why I keep saying, if anyone's been around Tazadaq and they're still in debt, they just want to be. They just want to be. Why are these guys still in debt, John?
All I can say is cognitive dissonance. I didn't realize it. That is a real thing. That is not just something that you made up. And cognitive dissonance can grip you with fear if you let it. You can't let that stuff grip you with fear. And I believe this is why they are still in debt. And I pray that they get the ability to gird up their loins like a man and get after it. Because these people are not playing. They want to keep you in debt. They want to control you, your life. And you can't let that happen, man. You gotta reach down deep within yourself and you gotta pull it out. You have to. So with that being said, man, get Kahan Tazadaq's book, Liberate the Oppressed. Get the plug, man, get all the books, man. Get everything.
They don't realize it's an investment. See, they're always looking at, that's one of the things I noticed. They're always, oh man, that costs a lot. You're not looking at the bigger picture, man. This is going to save you thousands. This brother say, hey, let me ask you this, man. Universal, you pay $500 for a book, right? The book save you $114,000. What kind of investment that you know that give you that back that many folds? Show me the investment that's giving someone that, and they turnaround is about 2 weeks. After you know the knowledge, the turnaround for an EFT is about 2 weeks. That's what's killing me with these cats, man. That's in debt.
The value, if I may say, is immeasurable because we're only talking about 2 weeks, or we're only talking about the beginning of a phase, not the end of a phase.
I don't know, man.
But look, is John the SPC?
Yeah, of course he is.
Okay.
Tazadaq never told anyone to do anything without being a creditor, man.
Right.
You just, listen, man, the stuff that they're talking about, some consumer credit, the reason that stuff doesn't make sense to me is because you're doing it from the status of a debtor. You're doing it, and anyone that really understands the law, a debtor doesn't have any rights. A debtor automatically has jurisdiction over him when he goes to court. There's so many disadvantages of being a debtor. And if your status is changed, they're going to want to see notifications somewhere on paper that says you are what you're alleging to be.
And just the word itself, consumer.
Yeah.
It already puts you in a debtor status.
That's someone that uses up stuff, huh? It's not the producer, it's the consumer. So that's a debtor. Consumers always go to producers and ask for things. But it's called aphasia. Until they overcome aphasia, they're never going to get out of this thing, man. And you can go on, you keep lying to people online, taking people's fiat. Then they come to me and they want me to fix it, man. My name's not Felix, man. They go to Wreck-It Ralph, then they trying to come to Tazadaq and treat him like Fix's Felix. Yeah, can you fix what they done? I think you need to go back to them, huh? I didn't get you out of it. I can't get you in. I'm telling you, man, they go to someone else, they become a secure creditor, and then want me to tell them what's wrong with their packet.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, and this is just one piece of the technology. I'm currently studying, the complete A for V. The other abilities that things that allow you to discharge debts. This was just one that when I heard it, it made sense to me. And so even though the first time I heard it, I still didn't do anything with it because I wanted to hear more webinars. I think I did 2 or 3 webinars before I actually done something with it, Kahan. And I bought the book. And of course, I read the book and, like you said, man, just constantly having it repeated to you over and over and over until it is embedded into your subconscious mind. And, whenever you learn like that, you feel more confident about whatever it is that they may throw at you, you already have a great idea of how you're going to take care of that. So, man, please, those that have not done anything yet, you know, I'm not coming at anybody combative. But please, get the book, man. Read the book, understand it, and go out there and discharge your debt, man. Get your life back. You deserve it. Get your life back. Come
There it is.
Even hearing the good brother John say the word technology shows, or at least to me, that he's comprehending what's being put inside the doctrine of right knowledge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I tell you, the first time that I got on one of the calls, one of the webinars, man, I was a skeptic. I really was. But I said, man, I'm gonna give this guy Kahan Tazadaq, man. I'm gonna go into his webinar and I'm gonna see if this is legit. And you know, I was more so curious, so I didn't really speak a whole lot. Just listening, man. Just listening. And man, my buddy Marty Marr, man. I tell you, man, if you guys don't know him, man, I wish that you were able to know him while he was still here with us, because man, he was a good man. I didn't know him personally, but I could just tell over the phone, the webinars, he was a good dude, man. Oh man, he was a good man. But anyhow, Marty Marr, actually, there was some things that he had said in those webinars that pulled me in to actually going to a multiple webinars. And so anyhow, and I know I'm kind of jumping around, but anyhow, I was in the webinars, and Kahan's authorized representative had stated that, even if you had opened up a checking account, let's say when you were in college and you closed it, well, due to aphasia, a lot of people, they hear the word closed and they think that the account is completely closed, meaning that you can't use it, no activity. But of course, the word closed actually means available for set off. And in the book, all of this is in the book, man. Liberate the Oppressed. It tells you all that. Not only is there one section of Liberate the Oppressed, there's two sections. There's three sections of information of EFT in Liberate the Oppressed. I mean, man, I'm telling you, if you get this book, man, it's starting to fray out of open and close this book so much. Every time you open it, man, it's got tons of information in there. You just about can take care of any issue that you may have from one book. And if you just do EFT for any of your debts, man, you'll be able to start to take back your equity. And man, you can get out from under debt. That's one of the things that makes people and families go into divorce, money issues, worry. Blood pressure high, debt collectors calling you. Man, just discharge it. Just discharge it. But
hey, John, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What did you not to get all in your business or whatnot, man? You can share or choose not to, but what did you discharge with the EFT?
Man, I discharge unsecured debt for $14,000. I had qualified for a unsecured loan.
Okay.
And of course, in 30 days, when your first payment comes around, because they sell the note, they do all that tap dancing, we already know that. That's what it is.
Right.
So when it was time for my first payment, they started calling and so forth. I'm a truck driver, so I'm on the road a lot, and I didn't have enough time yet to get home and take care of it, everything. Because a lot of times when you do a complete payoff, some of these companies will only allow you to get the paperwork in 10 days. Now, of course, you could still get it within 30 days, but I like to be congruent with, the EFT and try, my best to do everything that I am supposed to do with the EFT. But then again, let's say that they receive your EFT after 10 days of what the payoff stated. So when they receive it, offer an acceptance, did they keep it beyond that date? Because if they did, they accepted it, which means it's discharged anyway, UCC 3-603B. So even if they love to play semantics, polemics. They love to do that. Oh man, they love to do that. So even if they try to say, hey, well, we don't accept this type of payment, it doesn't matter, because UCC 3-603B says that once it's received, it's discharged. And even if they try to send it back, which I've never gotten the EFT back, but even if they do that, it's still discharged. So no matter what they try to say or throw at you, it's done, man. But see, that's how they get you. They tell you that your instrument didn't work. Well, how can you tell me my instrument didn't work when I sent a valid instrument? And you only have 1 day for it to be a valid rejection to reject it. That's why the EFT is so powerful, because when you get it and they get and they receive it and they don't act on it for 1 day, it's a no-brainer. They received it. It's done. The debt is done. But you have to believe that, because these people are master deceptionists, man. I mean, these people are master deceptionists. So what they'll try to do is they'll tell you, hey, it didn't work. Your payment didn't go through, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Well, if you want to play the game, well, what did you do with it? And they fake the black.
Because I learned from the Kahan that it's adversarial anyway, so they're going to lie regardless.
If I'd be able to interject a little point in reference to something that I wouldn't even go into on a public conversation, just to surface wise, he put out. I didn't have the opportunity to actually go over it, but he was talking about bonds. I think it was yesterday, and most people don't even comprehend the value of bonds. And then even going into talking about the good brother known on the YouTube as NPM Empire right now, Julio. He doesn't. When I'm saying he doesn't, if he was to actually re-listen to this particular broadcast, more importantly to the portion of what the good brother John Bourne was just talking about UCC 3-6-03. I'm sorry, UCC 3603. He was talking about debt. Child support is similar, if not the same, as of. So there's more to the whole getting out of debt. And John Bourne said something that I was like, it didn't blow my mind, and yet it did at the same time. It did blow my mind, because in my mind I'm thinking about that's debtor mentality. What's the word called? You said they're brain dead. And this is where we're talking about those bones and those people that are dead. They're mentally dead. They don't even know. Even if they do read it, and what I've learned and I've come to accept, this is called acceptance. What I've learned, of course, through right knowledge of Kahan Tazadaq, is that These people are not trying
lady,
to.
what the are you serious?
They're not, what's the word called? They're not equipped. And as I'm listening to John Bourne, I'm saying John Bourne, knowing what Bourne is, he was prior to coming into Taza doctrine, was prepared to be in acceptance of right knowledge. So you have individuals who are the majority who are not, they're combative to the mentality of what right knowledge is truly about. So they can't comprehend. To them, it don't make no sense. But to somebody who is born by way of the Most High, by way of nature, they already know it. It's like you know the truth when you hear it. The only people who argue with the truth is the devil seed. They're gonna argue with you if it's Eve or if it's a male. They're gonna argue with you combatively, back and forth. But wait, why do I have to argue with somebody about the truth? That's why I don't. That's why not I. And if I say I would say, if I'm speaking of self, I would say EYE. And I'm talking about the third eye. And that's a spiritual eye, and that's from the Most High. If I'm going to say anything in reference to anything, is always going to be in the form of a question. Unless I'm bringing forth law, like what John Bourne was just saying, well, I will ask, well, or not ask, I will even say where it says what it says about what a debt truly is and how to either set off, settle, and close, or to, however I'm going to resolve the matter or remedy the matter.
Facts. It's a fact, bro.
It's good stuff.
Look like someone's giving Julio an issue, man. See, his device is disconnected, man. Yeah, he gotta practice more patience, man. Let these cats, get to him. You know what I mean? To try, the 10-second rule or something, count backwards from 10 and then respond. Because if we let people control our emotions, then that means they're controlling us. If we allow people to get us angry, we're allowing them to control us. I mean, we can't afford that. We have to think. All of us may fall victims to that at time, but we got to get control of that, man. Don't allow someone to control you, man. Someone says something about you don't like, and you feel it's necessary to respond, then that's giving them control over you. We got to stay in control.
Yeah, nah, my bad. This lady had hit my she coming through with the shopping cart and bumped my car. She got on these darko shades trying to protect herself from the sun, but my bad, y'all.
Hearing someone like the good brother John Bourne bring forth testimony is one of the many things that I would say has kept me grounded and rooted in Taza doctrine from the beginning. And not that I at the time didn't require that, but I appreciate it at this point in my journey. As I was just saying previously, that his remedy to his debtor's debt and his the resolution to it, the remedy to it, is only a beginning path. It is not the end all be all. But the most important part that I've learned is that when people put that as John Bourne, this is definitely nothing towards him. He did everything properly in my opinion. My opinion is worth nothing. Knowing that people are looking for the financial reward, that is not, that's just like looking at you can't see the forest for the trees. You're just looking at a tree. There's more to it than just liberty. I remember one time hearing something, and I can't even recall it. This is something that stuck with my spirit. What Kahan was talking about freedom and liberty and the difference between the two. And most people don't comprehend, and they may perceive one to be attributed to the other, but yet liberty is something that you can define by way of law, either by way of nature's law, which is the Most High's law, Yahuwah's law, or be it by way of man's law. Liberty is something that's universal. Freedom is something that has to be attained from someone who was once a slave.
Right.
I think that what you just stated, I think that is also in the plug. I feel like that's in the plug. I read that as well.
It is in the plug.
I remember I could say one time I was thinking about how, this guy, the foul mouth Kahan, has forgotten more than most people even know. Like, and I'm not saying as if there's no value. What I mean is the true value is lost. It's like the most it's like someone saying something about throwing pearls to swine. It's like people are not really able to grasp it because it's not meant for them. And that's something I had to come to a conclusion, understanding of, is that Kahan has talked to hundreds of thousands of individuals. I mean, communication-wise, be it by medium of YouTube, be it by way of phone coaching, be it by way of books. He's communicated, and it's not meant for them. It's meant for the chosen few. The chosen few are going to get it. Those others who are not going to get it, is not meant for them. And it's like a fight. It's a warring battle between what they call good and evil, but there's no such thing there's no such thing in nature called good and evil. There's only what is and what is not, or not. N-A-U-G-H-T. What is and what is not. And he even went into it when he was in the broadcast earlier today. And this, as most people may not even comprehend or accept, that this still ties into the whole premise of today's lecture of Eve. Eve is trying to put a debt on you. They don't comprehend that. She's trying to say, hey, you owe me.
It's a fact. Eve trying to take everything you have when she leave.
Yeah, I comprehend that. Trust me, I don't know if you're speaking specifically to me, but I personally comprehend that.
I think he's speaking. I think he's speaking like generally to everyone.
Oh, okay.
I don't think a lot of guys get that up.
Facts.
If you look at the comment section, you'll see how these guys come at me from just saying the stuff that I've been saying. You guys don't know what Tazadaq be sustaining in the background, for making certain videos. They don't like these kind of videos, when I talk about Eve and telling 10 men to stand up and be men again. They don't like that,
Right. That's why I'm with you every time. Every time I see a video come on, man, I tap in. And it be Yahweh, because it's like, it ain't no way. This is in real time. Like, it ain't like I planned this. Like, I'm coming out of court and you got the video going. Like, come on now. I'm tapping in. This is playing in real life. Like, this ain't no made up, just, you know what I mean? Like, scripted mess or none of that. So this is Yahweh right
here. I would say this too. In the forefront, in the consciousness of a man's mind, when they're going against what Kahan is talking about, they're going against or they're challenging their reality or their belief or their conception of the female that they're with in their life. But in the subconscious, in the backside of their mind, they're saying, my mother is not. Because that's who they got their training from, who they believe to be the truth, and from the words of the Most High, as opposed to the reality of, your mom's. I remember there's this old saying that says, oh my goodness, this is the beautiful thing. There's an old saying that says, there's only one man on the planet your mother ever trusts. No, there's only one woman on the planet your father ever trusts, and that's your mother. No. I'm still getting it. It's an old saying, so my mind, I'm old. There's only one woman on the planet your father ever trusted, and that was your mother. Oh no, that's not how it goes. This is me trying to get an old saying.
I never even heard of it, but it seemed to make sense. Whatever that saying is. You ever heard of it?
You got the spirit in the
essence. Not quite, but it make a little sense though. You said your father trusted the mother. I mean, you said the father trusted. What you mean by planting the seed into it? What do you mean? What is it more pertaining to?
More pertaining to trust. There's only one person on the planet you should ever trust, and that's your mother, and your father didn't trust her. Because you don't know a woman, like a male child don't know their mother. They don't know their mother. They think they know their mother, but their mother only shows them something or respects themselves that shows them in a light of what's it called? Of being Mary Magdalene. But she's not pristine and pure. She has her own faults that she hides from her children. And however the old saying goes, which I know I butchered it up like a butcher, but the saying definitely, it resonated with me when I got older and I began getting in a relationship with women. And I was like, I know what my father was talking about. Oh, he was trying to tell me, he was trying to tell me in a sense that he didn't disrespect my mother before me, but he was trying to tell me in other words, hey, listen, I know what you feel about how me and your moms didn't get along, but listen, she got her faults too.
Kahan, yeah. Yeah.
So those individuals going through child custody cases, the child, male or female, may feel some way about their mother and feel some way about their father, but they don't know the reality of the situation. The only people who know the reality of the situation is the man and the woman. And, right. And the woman knows better than the man about how untrustworthy she really was. I mean, I can't even express in words how, me personally, a woman born and bred and raised up under a European or a westernized mentality she gets no credit from me. She has to prove herself over time. I accept her as she presents herself for the time being, but I know that truth reveals itself over time. So right. if she gonna say to me, oh, I got your back, she may even display certain characteristics to show it, but yeah, can you stand the pressure though? Are you truly a diamond? Are you truly you know what a diamond has to go through to go from being cold from its rawest element to becoming a diamond? That means it has to survive pressure and heat and intensity. And most women, they don't, because especially today, it's even worse today. And the reason why I'm saying this is to go back to giving credit to, not credit, but giving value to what the good brother John Bourne was talking about, is the fact that they're trying to say you're a debtor and you're supposed to be a creditor. I know I'm a creditor because I helped to create this particular life.
Facts.
So if this life is coming through you, I'm supposed to be here. And if a man, I remember having a conversation with this guy. He was saying certain things. He was like, yo, he was, which is beautiful. He was asking, I'm a man. Well, he was saying it was more of a question format to me. That's how I took it. I was like, he was like, I'm a man. And I'm like saying, I know you're a male. I don't know if you're a man. There is a difference between the two. You may have been born with the chromosomes and you may display the characteristics physically, but spiritually are you? And the spirit is something that's handed down by being taught from the father to the son, from the father to the daughter. But if a child is only taught by way of the mother to the daughter and the mother to the son, they're handicapped, but they don't even know it. And they run around with this whole misconception of being, what is it called? Princess to a queen. Well, a queen is nothing without a king.
Right.
That's just. Go ahead, my bad.
No, good brother, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, let's just go along with, even not to jump back to my situation, just go along to that. Like, I'm a great father. Like, I would love to have my son full time, and you got this wicked old Eve. She in the courtroom trying to put me on child support, and you've been keeping away my son for over 6 months now. Like, and you know damn well I would do a better job raising him, and on top of that, like, I want him. So it's like, what are you really doing? You just acting off of spite, evilness, and greed. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
In my experience in life, my limited experience in life, I would not perceive myself as being a great father. I would perceive myself as trying to be the best that I can be. And then after my son reflects my greatness, then I can say I'm a great father.
Yeah, I agree to a degree, but he is great. I mean, he got good grades in school, all that. He come from, you know what I mean? The way I look at it, I see myself as royalty and nothing less. So, you know what I mean? So he come from that.
That's
Even though his
called,
mother got him in a worse environment than in a bad environment that I feel like isn't the best for how I would have him, man. It's like he's still prospering. So that show you how your hard work right there. The teachers still he doing great. He one of them, prolific students, stuff like that. So I know that come from my bloodline, straight up. But
I
go
would
ahead though, good brother.
say Julio, you you sound like you mean well. You have greater intentions that are put on a table, but you're still making debtor statements, and I don't think you see it. And that's what's putting you in a position that you're in right now, to where you have to defend yourself. You're not, I want to say you're not, it does not sound like you comprehend what a creditor does and is. I'm doing my best to be the greatest father that I can be. And I don't see no evidence or verified, certified to the contrary. And I don't believe none of the contrary exists.
Con, I got you. That's better worded anyway. I agree.
And what are
it's
our
more so
words?
not.
What are
Go
our
ahead.
words? What are our words are from our mind, and our minds are from our spirit. So let's say my wife was a great let's say one of my wives was a great, what do you call it, accountant. I can't attribute my youth, be it male or female, their ability to do math to myself, because I have no evidence of that, because I'm not an accountant. But if I was, I may try to, but I wouldn't profess it. But I may lean to that idea, but I have no evidence to prove it. Because her mother may have been an accountant. This is one of the most valuable lessons that we could have learned from our Hebrew lineage, which is where a father who was a mason, he taught his male son from the time he could help him with, or let's say even a gardener, our male child, we could teach him to work with us in the field. And from that, we can attribute it, because my father taught me and his father taught him, and so forth and so on. And so I can attribute it, my son's ability to tender a garden or field for greatness, because I have history of it. There's proof, there's evidence. But if I have no evidence, it's just nothing but, a debtor statement.
Huh.
I got you.
Kane. Well, brothers, I think it's time to shut this down. It's called the T-Doc Morning Show. I mean, the KT Morning Show, but it's afternoon. It's almost 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been on here 3 hours and 18 minutes and could probably still go on, man.
Hey, my good brother, I know you remember David Levy. He'd be like, "We be rocking you, rocking you, rocking you."
Yeah.
Hey, good brother, thank you for the platform. Thank you for the forum. Thank you for the ability for us to even communicate with you and providing us what you have provided us, the books, the videos. They're beyond measure. They're beyond measure. Thank you.
Yeah, much gratitude, Kahan. What's understood ain't got to be explained. Much gratitude, fam. Much gratitude, Big Art. Abundance to you, fam. You already know. Abundance to you too, Sovereign Universal. You already know, fam. Appreciate y'all, bro. Shalom,
man, for having the heart to go forward, man.
Hey,
none like these other T-Doc cats, man. Pump faking out here, man.
Hey, yo, KTMS, baby, the Kahan Tazadaq Morning Show. Ain't nothing better on YouTube or on Instagram or X. Better than this right now.
Yep.
Straight up.
Real life things, man.
Real as it get.
Hey, peace and blessings to everyone. Thank you so much, Kahan. Thank you.
All right, everybody be safe, man. Shalom, man. Shalom.